One place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, there is a form down in the description of this live stream right now. So make sure you get your question in there because this is a first come, first serve basis type of thing. And I want to make sure that I get your question answered, especially, you're an early bird right now. So, you have the chance right now. We've just got a handful of questions in there. You got the chance to get your question answered. So if you have one, make sure you get it in there, especially if this is your first time here. Now, look, I want to let you know, if you're watching this on the replay, this is a Q&A stream, which means that as the questions come in through that form that I'm talking about that's linked down in the description, I'm answering questions as they come in. So the information that's shared throughout this live stream, it goes all over the place, but it's all related to YouTube, and it's all super valuable information that will help you with your YouTube channel. So I encourage you to skip around and just watch different parts of this stream because I know it's long. I don't expect you to commit to 3 hours, but it's I do want you to skip around because you will pick up some really good information here. So with all of that out of the way, I do want to let everybody that is hanging out here know that this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, which is the ¡1 tool for YouTube content creators. It'll help you optimize your videos for discovery. It'll help you test your thumbnails. It'll help you find really cool video topics. They've got 90 different tools that'll help you in a bunch of 90 different ways with your YouTube channel in terms of growth, in terms of optimization, in terms of overall channel management. TubeBuddy is the solution for you. I've got a link to that down in the description below, or you can go to tubebuddy.com/Nimmin and see what TubeBuddy can do for you. And look, if you are under 1,000 subscribers, just as a heads up, they actually give you a discount because they're trying to help you succeed on YouTube and they want to help you get started. So in addition to that, this stream is brought to you by StreamYard, which is the live streaming platform that I use to do this live stream every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So if you are watching this on the replay, I do want to let you know that you can join at 9 a.m. Eastern. But I do this with StreamYard. And the reason I use them is because they do all the heavy lifting on the cloud, so it's really easy on my computer. If my internet goes down, they hold the stream open for me so I can come back to it. In addition to that, it's really easy to bring guests into the show. I can manage my comments inside of StreamYard. I can add graphics to the screen, all kinds of really awesome features. If you're a live streamer, I encourage you to check out StreamYard. You can do that at StreamYard.com. Or of course, I've also got a link to StreamYard down in the description as well. So with all that out of the way, I hope that everybody is just having a great week so far, a great start to your weekend, because, it looks like we are at Saturday morning right now. So I hope that you're having a great start to your weekend, that you're super pumped up to learn about YouTube and just hang out today. And I just want to say really quick, Viper in the house, Man About Tech. What's up, my dude? Hope that you are doing fantastic in here, dropping the fire emojis. Love seeing that. Also, we've got Albitastic in the house, who is commonly the most chatty person here during the live stream. So super appreciate you for that. Neil, Urban Van Life. What's up, my dude? Hope you're doing fantastic. Terrestrial Vibes in the house. Jerry Popandria. Hope that you're doing awesome as well. Doug Hewson, as always. Hope you're rocking, my man. Chantel Hills. Hope that you are also doing fantastic. And everybody else as well. If your name wasn't mentioned, I still appreciate you being here, and I hope that you are excited and ready to learn about YouTube today. And look, we still just got a few questions. So make sure you get your question in the forum right now. And if you get it in there right now, if you're within the next probably 15 questions, we'll get answered on the show here today. So get your question down there. What's up, Heckler? So let's see here. Ash Borland, what's up, man? Hope you're doing great. So the very first question, we're just going to jump into it today. Let's just go in. Let's go ahead and just, dive in head first and get right into these questions and start answering them today. So right out of the gate, say my audio is hot. Okay, let me pull that down here just a little bit there for you, Neil. All right. So right out of the gate, the very first question here is from Rodsters. Rodsters TV says that they do motorcycle reviews, and the goal of the channel is becoming the #1 motorcycle channel in the world. Question. Hey, Nick, thanks for the help last week. According to what the majority of big YouTubers in my country claim, my RPM seems way higher, despite the fact that I seem to reach the same geographic audience. Could this be a clue as to say that I'm performing better than my competitor in terms of CTR and retention? Also, does RPM drop when you get bigger, or is it always dependent on you being attractive for people that are buying ads? So when it comes to you having a different RPM or CTR, or not CTR, RPM or CPM, I think that's what you meant. If it comes to that, comparing it to other people. So basically, even though you're reaching, you know, a similar audience in terms of the location that they might happen to be in, those people all have different interests and things like that. Each topic of the videos that you put out, that's going to be a little bit different than your competitors, things like that. And all of those can impact your CPMs on your YouTube channel. So just keep that in mind when it comes to, you know, comparing your CPMs and RPMs and all that. It's not just the location. That's one of the factors. And then in addition to that, there's ad inventory at that moment in time, how many monetized playbacks you're getting, things like that as well. All of these things impact your CPMs and your RPMs. So because of that, I wouldn't like, you're doing fine. Like if you have higher CPMs than everybody else and higher RPMs than everybody else that you talk to, all your YouTuber buddies, then you're doing awesome. So just lean into that. Or you're at least doing better than they are, so to speak. So at least lean into that. Paul Peck Drywall Tube, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing awesome. Brad Magic Flying Potato, welcome to the stream today. Next question is from Jay-Z Helps. Jay-Z Helps says they do, the type of channel is informational. The goal of the channel is to spread awareness and get clients. And really quick, if you have not given this stream a thumb up yet, go ahead and give it a thumbs up right now. I would really appreciate it. But the question here says, what in-card strategy do you recommend for YouTube Shorts? How should I end the YouTube Short vids? Should we create a YouTube Shorts playlist? So YouTube automatically creates a YouTube Shorts playlist. So that's already part of, you know, what's going on your YouTube channel. If you go to your homepage, if you haven't taken it off yet, then there's going to be a shorts playlist like right there on your homepage already. They just kind of inserted it there for people, but you can go in and you can add that if you want to your homepage of your YouTube channel, or you can go and take it off as well. So if you're not doing a lot of shorts, then you would want to take that off because it's not really relevant right now. But if you are doing shorts on a regular basis, then in that case, you'd want to leave that on there so that as people hit your channel page on a mobile device, they can hit that shorts playlist. That'll take them into the short shelf, which is better than just having a playlist, right? So they can just sit there and binge, but it takes them into that short shelf, and then you can sit there and, you know, or they can sit there and consume the shorts that you have. So, and also like, what I recommend that you do in terms of, you know, at the end of your shorts, try to get people to subscribe, because what you're wanting is you're wanting them to have a good experience with your short, but you're also wanting them to subscribe to the channel, as well, or really any engagement that they can give it, so that hopefully YouTube will show some of your other content to them as well. Let's see here. So next up on our list here, we've got Video for Bosses. Video for Bosses says that they do educational content. The goal of the channel is to help content creators learn how to live stream and grow their brand presence online. The question is, I just hit 1,000 subscribers and want to know what should now be my focus for channel growth. I'm playing around with different styles of thumbnails to see if this will improve my CTR, but what else can I do? Thanks for answering my question. So right out of the gate. Wrong one. High five and fist bump to you for, we'll do it here. High five, fist bump to you for hitting that first 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. Nice work with that one. Always love it when people are crossing milestones here. It's absolutely fantastic. But when it comes to the next things that you need to do, so right out of the gate, you are doing the right things because you were able to get 1,000 subscribers. Those same things will lead you into more subscribers. But what you want to make sure that you do is that, you know, you've got a decent amount of information that you can dig into now in your YouTube channel. So go in and start looking at all the content that, you know, helps create that 1,000 subscribers. Look at all the content that's moving the channel in terms of the stuff people are responding to. Look at what you're doing with your thumbnails. Look at the topics of your videos. Make sure you go and you look at your retention too on your, you know, because you're growing yours, I believe, with just live streams. So go in and look at your retention in your live streams and see if there's anything you can do in your streams to tighten them up, make them a little bit better, to try to keep people watching, things like that. But basically you have information now. So now what you can do is dig into there and start interpreting that information in terms of these are the things that people respond to at a higher rate on my YouTube channel for now, as you know, these are the people that YouTube is showing my content to at the moment. So because of that, you want to use that information to make future content on your YouTube channel. So let me put that into a real life practice for you. Let's say that you are in your analytics. Let's say you're using the grouping feature, and on your channel, since you're teaching people about growing their brand presence online, let's say that you have a few of your live streams that are about just creating a brand, right? Like just beginner stuff. Like this is how you get started creating a brand online. Excuse me.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
But basically, go in, and if you have, just like a few video or a handful of videos that are, like the starting stuff, then, kind of group those together. If you have some that are a little bit more advanced, group those together. If you have ones that are extremely advanced, then group those together and just start seeing, right? That's like one division that you can make, and you can say, okay, people responding to my beginner stuff more, my intermediate stuff more, my advanced stuff more, like what are they responding to more there? You can also use your grouping feature as well, because you mentioned that you're experimenting with thumbnails. So you can also, through those different styles of thumbnails, you can start grouping them together as well. Of course, you want to look at them at the individual view also, but you can start grouping them together just to get an idea of, like, in general, does, when I'm using these thumbnails with these colors or with my face or not with my face or with text or not with text, are people responding to, one or the other more than they do the other ones, right? So you can just start fine tuning what it is that you're doing for, or leaning into the response through that fine tuning that you're currently getting to, increase the momentum that you're getting on the channel. So hopefully we'll see a 2,000 here very soon. So next up on our list here, we've got Christianity Explained is the name of the YouTube channel. The Ultimate Quiz channel. What's up? Nice to see you in here. Sheep Plays. Nice to see you in here as well. Says I'm finally up in time. Welcome to a new day, Sheep Plays, and welcome welcome to the live stream as well. But Christianity Explained says that they upload one time per week or more. And really quick, there's some super chats that came in. Let me go ahead and get these taken care of really quick. And then we'll jump back into the forum. Give me 1 second. Let me scroll up to where this one is. This first one here is from Super Duper OG. Says, ever since the new YouTube policies, I've lost over 60 videos and dropped 4 million views. I've been making videos constantly for 1 whole year. My channel doesn't grow anymore. I don't get it. Please help. So you lost 60 videos. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Are you saying that YouTube took videos down? Are you saying you got copyright claims on them? Are you saying you took them down? And you said that you dropped 4 million views. So if you delete videos off of your YouTube channel, or if you make your videos unlisted on your YouTube channel, then it removes the public view count and public watch time for those videos. So if you did delete videos, then of course, that public view count and public watch time is going to go with it. So in terms of, you losing 60 videos, I'm not really sure, the context there in terms of how you can lose 60. But if you meant that you took them, you deleted it. So your YouTube deleted it, and also I had to delete some. Interesting. So in that case, anytime a video is deleted or unlisted or privated on your YouTube channel, then it removes those public watch hours and public view counts from that content. So that's what happened there. But in terms of them removing videos, that's a little bit interesting. So I would definitely reach out to them through their YouTube community forums. If you go to Google, you type in, go to Google, type in YouTube community forums, and then it's going to have a website pop up within the first handful of results. Go into that, and then you can actually ask questions directly to YouTube, and then they have volunteers that will answer questions. They have some YouTube staff that go in there and answer questions and things like that. But let them know, bring that to their attention if they're deleting stuff, so you can find out exactly why it is that they're deleting content. Because that's my first time of them, like if it's not anything shady, that's my first time hearing of them actually, just deleting, just random videos on a YouTube channel. So I would definitely reach out to them, and also make sure that you @Team YouTube on Twitter and bring that to their attention as well. But absolutely, if you're deleting the videos though, if you're deleting them, or if they get deleted for whatever reason, if they're gone, then of course you are going to lose your public view count and public watch time for those particular videos that were deleted. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list here, next one that we had, and there was a few supers that came in. Sonia, thank you for the super sticker there. I appreciate it. And let's see here. So Adicio, I hope I'm saying that correctly, says, what are your thoughts on creating filler videos? My main videos take a few days to make, would filler videos hurt the channel growth and or reach? So by filler videos, I'm not really sure what you mean by that. If you mean content that isn't really content for your, whoa, hold on, stop the presses here really quick. I'm going to jump right back to that. So Scrap and Pallet Man just hit 200,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel. High five, fist bump to you. Been grinding it out. Love seeing that. High five and fist bump. That's awesome. Congratulations to you. Doubling the play button. You don't really get that second play button, for 200,000. But I mean, you've crossed that milestone twice now. That's fantastic. Nice work on that. But back to the question here. So in terms of filler videos, so if you're putting out content that you don't think adds value to anybody that's interacting with your YouTube channel, then don't put it out. If you're like, hey, I can make a shorter version of what I normally make, or I can make a short version that's related to the audience that I'm trying to reach, I can just make a shorter video and then publish that on my YouTube channel, and that can just be a piece of content that's still going to, add value to the people that are interacting with my stuff. And if somebody were to watch that, it would be a great impression of me. It's not something that I'm just like, hey, let me just throw something random up there. Let me just make sure that it's also, going to represent me and my content and all that in a good way. Then in that case, putting up shorter videos, no problem at all. But in terms of filler videos, like videos that just don't make sense to put up, or videos that aren't actual content that it will add value to your viewers in any way, I would just focus on the content that isn't the filler videos in that particular case, so that you can make sure that everything you're delivering to your viewers is awesome. But you can do that. Like if you're doing larger projects, you can also do smaller projects, but they can still, be of value to the people that are interacting with your content. So I really recommend that you try to take that approach instead of uploading for the sake of uploading. In terms of, and I saw this one here really quick, so I'm just going to let you know. So Let's Try Making says that as a brand new channel, what type of CTR is acceptable? So on YouTube, the information that YouTube gives us, they say on average, people get between 2 and 10% on their click-through rates. However, they don't tell us what surface that's from in terms of where that click-through rate is coming from. Is it coming from search, home pages, suggested videos? What? They don't tell us. In addition to that, they don't let us know the impressions that actually lead to that click-through rate. So because of that, that information isn't really helpful for us, except for situations like this where I can say, hey, this is what YouTube says. But what you want to make sure that you're doing is you're looking at where you're actually getting clicks from. That's more important, because instead of looking at like what's a normal average for your click-through rate, try to get it as high as you possibly can. And as you are working on trying to get your click-through rate as high as you possibly can, it's also important to know that your topic impacts your click-through rate, your thumbnail impacts your click-through rate, and your title impacts your click-through rate. So when you are looking at your click-through rate, it's not always your thumbnail. Sometimes it can be, if your click-through rate's low, sometimes it can be the topic just didn't resonate, or there's just not a wide, a lot of people interested in that. So when YouTube showed it to people, they just didn't respond to it. It can also be the thumbnail, of course, but then it could also be your title, to where like your thumbnail might grab their attention, but your title might not be compelling enough to actually pull them into the video. So because of that, when it does come to your click-through rate, just keep that in mind, and also make sure, because inside of your YouTube channel, they show you this this upside down triangle thing, right? And it shows you how your impressions led to watch time on your channel. And within that upside down triangle, you see your click-through rate there, and that's an averaged out version. So if you actually go into your advanced mode in your analytics, and then you go over to traffic sources, then for each video, then what that's going to tell you or show you is how people are responding from each place. So what you do with that information is, if you notice that the only place that you're getting traffic from is search, then that's where your click-through rate is higher, that's where most of your views are coming from, most of your impressions are happening, then that means you need to work on being a little bit more compelling on home pages. Because when it comes to search, that's where people are looking for the content that you've made. But when it comes to home pages, you're competing with everything that person is interested in, or that YouTube is predicting that person's interested in at that moment in time, and your video is there too. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you are going in and you're understanding, where your click-through rate, or what your click-through rate is on the different places that you can get views from on YouTube, just so you can have a deeper understanding of how people are responding from, all the different places that can bring you views on YouTube. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down, and really quick, if you have a question, make sure that you drop it in the form. I'm going to be, pulling most of them from here. I'm going through these super chats right now. Once these are finished, then I'm hopping right back into the forum. Later in the stream, just, for those of you that this is your first time here, later in the stream, I'm going to be pulling questions directly out of the chat. And then sometimes, if I see a question where I'm like, hey, yeah, this is something that, everybody, if it's something that grabs my eye and I'm like, yeah, everybody can win from this question, then in that case, I'll go ahead and pull them out of the chat too. But I focus on, of course, trying to get this forum taken care of when we first get the stream started, for the sake of, the early birds that show up that are, that for you guys, you guys are here. We've only been streaming here for 20 minutes and you guys are here, hanging out. So you're, at the front of this stream, and I appreciate it. That's why I prioritize the forum. But let's see here. Video for Bosses says, I just wanted to send you a thank you for all your great advice and for answering my questions. So much value. Video for Bosses. Hey, congratulations to you again on your first 1,000 subscribers. You're going to do awesome. here on YouTube, and what it is that you're teaching people how to do. Like, live streaming right now, it's just climbing, right? Just climbing and climbing and climbing. So your timing in terms of, getting in now for live streaming content, like, you nailed it. In terms of, the timing of, when to start sharing information about that. Or teaching people, about live streaming, building their brands through live streaming, all of that stuff. Okay, so I think that has us taken care of on the super chats. I'm just going to check my tool here really quick and just kind of confirm it here. Super duper. Okay, yeah, so we got those taken care of there. Check the conversation over there. All good there. Okay, so let's see here. So next up on our list, we have, did I answer this one here on the, okay, yeah, we didn't. Okay, so this next question, because I got completely derailed on this one, is from Christianity Explained. Christianity Explained says they upload one time per week or more. The type of channel is inspiration and edutainment, which, if you're not familiar with that concept, it basically is educational content that's also entertaining. That's what edutainment means. The goal of the channel is to encourage people in their walk with God. And the question is, in YouTube Studio, I noticed that I'm getting traffic from Creator Studio. Why? I've been in there quite some time, yet it seems an active source of traffic. Talk about an unlikely source. Feel free to expound. So here's the thing, like when it comes to things like that, like don't even worry about things like that, right? Like you're going to see, some traffic coming from Creator Studio. You're going to see some unknown in there, which is going to start, having some type of, lots of questions fire off about that too. Focus on the ones that matter the most. And that is homepage traffic, or at least browse, right? But homepage traffic, to be specific, suggested videos, and search. Like focus on those right now, because those are the three main ways. I mean, of course, you can get traffic through shorts. You can get traffic through stories, community feeds, all that stuff, and other ways. But in terms of when you publish a piece of content to YouTube, if you want it to blow up, you need to make sure that you're getting into the recommendation features. If you're looking for something that is going to do well in the recommendation features plus in search, then make sure that you're also optimizing it for search as well. Let's see here. So as we keep on going here through the list of questions, here we got Cooking the Weeds. And the type of channel is a cooking channel. The goal of the channel is to show easy recipes. And the question, hey, Nick, huge fan of your information. Has helped me grow to over 570 subscribers. Nice work to you. High five and fist bump on your way to 1,000. Says, question, why are my total watch hours decreasing? About 3,600 hours down to around 3,400 hours in 2 weeks. So the reason for that is because of the date range that you're seeing inside of your YouTube analytics. So basically, if you're trying to get into the partner program and you're just looking at the graph they show you there, that's constantly rotating on a 365-day basis. So what that means is today, you're going to see the number that's in there for today, but the number that was in there for yesterday, last year at this time, those watch hours are leaving. So that's why, in order to stay in the partner program, once you get into it, you have to continually hit that 4,000 hours of watch time within a 365-day period. But once you do that, like if you can get your channel to that 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 hours of watch time, when you do that, then what's going to happen is you're going to have enough, traction and all of that stuff to where you're going to be able to hit it, over that next year as well. As long as you just keep publishing on a regular basis and you put some intention behind what it is that you're doing, then you'll do fine. But it's just that initial part of getting into the partner program, that's where it gets a little bit frustrating, because like you're racing against the clock in that situation, because it's like, hey, I have this 365-day window that I have to hit this qualification for the watch time. So because of that, I have to make sure that I'm making up for any of that watch time that's dropping off on the back end from this time last year as the days just keep rotating through. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, Hot Tub Lady, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Let's see here. So what is CTR? Okay, so I'm going to answer this one because this is one for everybody. So CTR stands for click-through rate. And your click-through rate comes from how many impressions that you get on YouTube, which is basically, that's the technical term, impression. So an impression on YouTube is when YouTube shows your video to somebody on the platform. Your thumbnail has to be in full view for a second on YouTube. And as soon as that happens, it can be anywhere on YouTube, that counts as an impression. So what your CTR is, or your click-through rate, that is your ability as YouTube is showing your videos to people on the platform, giving them impressions. Your click-through rate is essentially your conversion, right? So like YouTube is showing it to X amount of people, and then your click-through rate is the conversion of how many people you got to click on your video. So that's what your click-through rate is. Renee Ritchie says his click-through rate typically starts around 15 to 17%, and then as YouTube pushes it to bigger audiences, it typically ends around 5 to 7. So just giving a little bit of insight there for people that were looking for some general information there on the click-through rate. So let's see here. Rusty Graffiti, what's up? Hope you're doing awesome. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the chat here, I saw another super chat come in. Let me get this taken care of here. So Sonia says, I use Google Ads in order to get exposure. Now I wonder if I've made a mistake and if maybe it hurt my growth. So here's the thing when it comes to running ads on your videos is when you run ads on your videos, because a lot of people will take this approach. There's probably other people here in this conversation right now that have done the same exact thing. So when people start YouTube channels, some people will throw money at it in terms of ad spend because they want to shortcut that initial part and go ahead and just quickly build an audience and then start making content and hit the ground running, essentially, right? Instead of having to go through that growing pains part. And that's great when you're first getting started. However, the downside of doing that is when you come onto YouTube and you try to shortcut the process, then what ends up happening is you end up paying for, like, if you can't get people to click on your videos and come in and enjoy the content enough at a competitive rate to where YouTube's showing your content to people already on the platform, then people will try to shortcut that by running ads. The problem happens when you run an ad campaign on your video and you're like, yes, people are watching this, people are, coming in, I'm getting some subscribers from it and all of that. And it looks like in that moment, it's kind of like a false, like a false, like, hey, this is working out type of thing. Same exact thing happens with YouTube Shorts too, but now I can explain that in a second too. But basically when it comes to that approach, what happens is if you haven't learned how to get an organic response yet, as soon as you stop spending money, you still haven't learned how to get people to click yet. You still haven't learned how to make the content yet in a way that people respond to at a competitive rate, compared to all the other videos on YouTube, that they respond to at a competitive rate so that YouTube will, show it to more people. But if you can't get people to click, when YouTube does show it to some of those people that you earned through your ad campaigns, if you can't get them to click, still, because you didn't learn, you bypass that part, then in that particular situation, then what you've done is you spent a bunch of money on numbers that don't really matter, because even if somebody recently interacted with your channel and YouTube shows them one of your videos, if you haven't learned how to get people to click on your stuff yet, then they're still not going to click on it. And even though they interacted with your channel in the past because you spent ads on it or because you put, an ad budget behind it, that doesn't mean that those people are going to click on your videos when they see them. So, because of that, when you are first getting started on a YouTube channel, especially if you haven't done any of this type of stuff before, it's really, really good practice to learn how to get the ball rolling organically first. And then after that, if you want to run ads and, do all that stuff, feel free. It's definitely something, that would be an experiment. But once you get things going organically, the beauty of that is you won't have to run ads, right? So because of that, I really encourage everybody here to not try to shortcut things in that way, because in order for long-term sustainability on YouTube, you have to get that basic starting point down, which is coming up with topics that have a decent amount of people that will be interested in those topics, packaging them up in terms of the thumbnail and title in a way that will get people to click, get them to click at a competitive rate. Once they hit your video, get them to enjoy that video at a competitive rate, subscribe to your channel, like your videos, comment on them, go deeper into your videos from your end screens, come back to your channel, watch more, doing all of those things. You got to learn how to do that organically. And when you do, you don't have to worry about spending money on ads, because then everything is going to, like, YouTube's going to do all the heavy lifting for you, and you're not going to have to worry about, spending money on advertising. But if you do, it's going to be a lot more of an effective process, because then if you're spending the money on advertising, then you've at least learned how to get those people that are interacting with the content that YouTube might show your videos to later. You've at least learned how to get them to respond to what it is that you're doing. So then that way, all the gains that you get from running ads in that case, you know, you've learned how to get them to respond. So then you'll be able to pull some of those people back into your content. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down this list here, and let me check my form here really quick. Okay, just making sure that I didn't miss anybody here. Okay, so let's see here. So next up on our list here, jumping back into the form here. Oh no, we did have a couple. So living character movie is head wide. Okay, so Urban Van Life Neil says, in your upload section, YouTube has now added education to the category section, and there is other options in there. Granted, it's metadata, but they're to be used as well. Yeah, so basically, YouTube has added like a whole subsection to the educational category inside. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, Neil, because I didn't have it on my notes to mention today. So basically, YouTube, if you make educational content, if you go into your categories and you are selecting education as your category, then there's like a whole subset of information that you have to fill out now. And they're probably going to start doing that with some of the other categories as well, would be my guess. But on the educational side, they're giving you a bunch of information to just make sure that you fill that stuff out. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list, Hot Tub Lady, thank you again for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Let's see here. And King Cage.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure next time you get the chance, you go to nimminvip.com. It's on the screen right now for clarity. Make sure you go to nimminvip.com. That's going to redirect you to our members only Facebook group. Fill out all the information on the way in, because I verify that you're a member before we get in there, or before I let you in. So if you can do that sometime before the stream ends today, then I can let you in after the stream is complete today. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list, I'm going to hop back in here to the questions. So this next question that we have here is from Heckler. Heckler, we made it, man. Heckler's like, hey, I hope you answer my question. Dude, we made it. Heckler, or Dudette. I'm not sure what you are. I just assumed dude. But Heckler, you know, we got you. We got you. You're right here. So with your name as a Heckler, I'm like, uh-oh, what are we getting into here? Right? This is a Heckler, and their name is a Heckler. So what am I getting into? So let's see here. So right out of the gate says, I have a problem. And I'd like you to look on. My channel views are decreasing. I don't know why. I was making videos on a game named Asphalt 8. And even though I wasn't in the content creator program of Asphalt 8, not YouTube, I was getting fairly higher views. But now I'm in the content creator program of Asphalt 8. So I get the early development information earlier than ever. And I'd make a video on it as soon as possible. But for some reason, the impressions and the views decline, not the impressions click-through rate, though. Okay, so there's other things at stake. So like when you are, like when your impressions are going down, it can be that just people aren't responding to the video as a whole, because it's not just your click-through rate. Like that's just one of the things. And yes, of course, it's heavily weighted. But like if you start noticing your impressions going down or just views going down in general, it comes down to, you know, how people are responding to the content. So it's not that you're doing anything wrong in terms of, you know, like you've messed something up, but you definitely need to make sure that you are working on, you know, looking for the videos that you have on your channel that are bringing, you know, new views in, they're bringing new subscribers in and all that stuff, and try to uncover, like, why is it that I think that people are responding to these compared to the stuff that people aren't responding to as much, right? Because like your click-through rate, your average view duration, and overall engagement, like when you see that stuff in your analytics, like those are the numbers, right? Those are a reflection of how people responded to what it is that you're doing. But at the end of the day, you got to think about, why do I think they responded in this way? So even though your click-through rate might be the same in terms of your averaged out view, you also want to make sure that you're going into your traffic sources, like we talk about all the time here too. You want to make sure that you go into your traffic sources for each video and look at what your click-through rate is from each different traffic source, like I mentioned earlier in the stream. So what I mean by that is, if you're looking at the averaged out view and the upside down triangle thing in your reach tab there, then what's going to happen is like the views that are coming in, or the click-through rate that you're getting on your channel page, for example, that's going to impact that. So because of that, you want to make sure, and so are some other things as well. So you want to make sure sure that you're looking at the traffic sources so you can see like what your true click-through rate is from each different surface. And if you do notice that you're declining in impressions, then another thing that you can do is you can adjust your date range. So just because, like when you published the video, it was high, and then now, it's not as high, or we'll just say it's the same. In that particular case, if you go into your traffic sources and then you start sorting by the date range, you might uncover that, hey, it looks the same here because of the date range that I have selected. But if I isolate it down to where my impressions started to drop, it seems like, my retention dropped, my click-through rate dropped from these particular sources that I was getting traffic from. So that's the beauty of learning your YouTube analytics, is it's going to help you be able to uncover or solve, problems like that you're having. Hot Mess History with T said what T said.
Super chat.
Welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing awesome. Says, hey, Nick, thank you for the advice that you gave me last week on changing my channel name. I was worried, but it is working well for me. I'm sure that I'll hit 60,000 subscribers this week. High five and fist bump to you. Approaching 50,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. Just crushing. Absolutely love it. Congratulations to you for that. And I'm glad you got the channel name, all sorted out there as well. Let's see here, these drops. So basically all of these, like this one.
If you're enjoying the show,
that one.
Thanks for watching Nimmin Live.
That one.
Super chat.
So these top two, these come from the first ones that I did. Those come from musicradiocreative.com. Mike Russell and his wife Isabella, they are fantastic over there, and they did those first two drops that you hear. They've also done a bunch of other stuff for me too. But for this, this is what the musicradiocreative.com. And then these ones down here on the bottom, this one,
super chat.
this one,
Welcome to the Nimminati.
and this one.
Welcome to the Nimminati chill mode.
Those all came from Travis MCP. We call him Travis MVP because he's he's an MVP in our world. But his YouTube channel's Travis MCP. He's the one that made those and sent them over. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, but if you're looking for that kind of stuff, again, I recommend Music Radio Creative. You can also find things like that on Fiverr, if you're looking for, something that, doesn't cost a lot, things like that. And also on Mike Russell's YouTube channel, because Mike Russell's the guy that, him and his wife own Music Radio Creative. On Fridays, I think it is, they have a live stream where they actually make these live. They do these audio drops live, and you can get these made like right there on the spot for like a $5 super chat too. Or they might be 10 or 20. I can't remember. But you can do that. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down this list here, I'm just going to skip all the way down here to the bottom. Oops. So let's see here. So the next question that we have here, I'm pulling the form for this particular one. And it looks like we also had a super chat come in from What's Up Boomin'. Says, so I have small YouTube goals, first 100 videos, first 1,000 views, and first 100 subs. Am I missing any goals? This also helps me not to get discouraged. So yeah, you are. So when it comes to the goals that you have for your YouTube channel, especially if you're getting started, of course, you're going to have your on-platform goals in terms of channel performance. You're going to have those. But in addition to that, try to come up with something not related just to the metrics that you're seeing on YouTube as another goal that drives you. So for example, if you're like, hey, I'm trying to go full-time on YouTube, then in that case, if you're going full-time on YouTube, that means that you need to define exactly how much money that you need to make. You need to inflate that a little bit because you're going to have to cover taxes, your own health insurance, things like that. But basically, you got to figure out how much money you're going to make, break that down into a 30-day period and be like, okay, how much does that mean that I need to make every day? And then start, chipping away at figuring out how to make whatever amount of money it is that you need to make, and just add it to the calendar every single day. So what I did when I first came onto YouTube is I was like, okay, every day, right, these were my goals. And every day, I'm going to just write down how much I generated that day. Now, in some cases, like affiliate payouts, things like that, you'll get big lump sums, and things like that at different times. But it was interesting because basically I got to see my calendar that I was writing these things down, as I was starting this process, like a lot of you are now. I got to write these big zeros, right? I should have kept that calendar. I'm like kicking myself that I didn't. But basically I would just write zeros, right? So it's like, okay, 0, 0, 0. And then it'd be like, oh, I got a $5 commission for this, thing that I sent over to Sellfy or over to Fiverr or something like that. $5. So now we have 1 that's not a 0, right? And then just kind of keep going through that process until you start filling up all of those days, or at least most of the days, and until the numbers start getting, a lot bigger. But basically, that's if you're trying to go full time. But in terms of, goals about your YouTube channel, the things that I recommend that you do is that you have channel performance goals, have impact goals, and impact goals are things like, people coming into this live chat right now, right? People are coming in, they're like, hey, I'm crossing these milestones. Thanks for information, like that kind of stuff. For me, impact, impact response, I get that in live streams. I get it in emails. I get it in like Twitter and Instagram DMs, things like that. So, I have that as like, a subset of my goals. In addition to that, monetary goals, but really break it down, for all of the different things that you want to accomplish on your channel. And in addition to that, that aren't just connected to the metrics of your channel. That's just one group, right? And in addition to that, another thing that I recommend that you do when it comes to your goals, when it comes to YouTube, is if you are wanting to do like sponsorships, or if you're wanting to, take a trip, somewhere and do something cool that is funded by a sponsor, or, something like that, then in that case, like write all that stuff down and dream big. Like one thing that I always encourage people to do is, like when I do group trainings, this is one of the things that I encourage people to do, is like take a little bit of time, close your eyes, and you guys can all do this right now if you want. And I won't go through the whole thing, but in a nutshell, close your eyes and imagine that, right now, as you're starting out on this YouTube journey, if everything worked out perfectly and exactly how you would love for it to work out right now, what would your life look like a year from now? What would your life look like 2 years from now, 3 years from now? And not just what would it look like in terms of just being extremely vague, but, what would you be doing every day? When you woke up, what would your daily routine look like, right? Imagine what that would look like. Same exact thing goes with, any income you're generating. Like how much money would you be bringing in? What type of things would you have? What would your content look like? So like right now, let's say you're getting started and you're making content that you're like, this could definitely look better. I could definitely do way better than this. What that picture looks like in your mind. So, have that as one of the things, right? Think about, okay, 5 years from now, a year from now, this is what I would love for my content to be able to look like. I would want my set to look like this. I'd want to be able to present like this. I would want, if you're out vlogging, whatever, I'd want to be able to put together vlogs better than Casey Neistat, like things like that. But basically, what you want to do is you want to take all of these goals that you're putting together and you just want to internalize them and just define everything of what it would look like if everything went your way, and then write all of those things down. This is what I did. And then you write all those things down, and then you can just slowly start, chipping away at them. And the really cool thing about that is you paint this really big picture of, what things would look like in terms of, I'd be doing sponsorships, I would be speaking on stages, things like that. For me, that was, actually the stage thing kind of happened. I didn't actually plan for that one, but as you're putting this stuff together, those are the things that you write down. And the really cool thing about it is when you have that big list of things, then you're checking off goals. You're like, hey, hit that one, sweet. Hit that one, sweet. Hey, I had 4 people send me emails saying that my content impacted them some way. Sweet. Check that one off. And you just kind of keep going through, that list. So that's what I recommend. So don't base everything just on the channel metrics. Base it on, just have that as like one group of goals that you have, but then also come up with the other things, because those numbers, in a lot of cases, we're all different, but in some cases, those numbers will drive people, but in a lot of cases, they won't. It's all of the other stuff that actually ends up driving you. Because, when you first start a YouTube channel, you might have all this, excitement and, all of that. And then, once it becomes something that you consistently do, some of that, it's still exciting, it's still fun, it creates a great lifestyle and all that. But, some of that, that newness of it starts to wear off. So then you need some of those other things to, to keep you moving and to keep you fired up to be making content all the time. So let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list here, the next one that I have, I just want to make sure I got everybody taken care of there. Just refreshing that. Okay. So next up on our list here, we've got Purple, Luna, Rose, Tarot. And really quick before I answer that one, the red lines, red lens. Says, question, I see people putting an @ in their video titles on YouTube, on live streams and video uploads. Does that really help drive your viewers in YouTube reach? Do you have an email for consulting? So you can send me an email for consulting. I'm actually not taking on anybody right now. I will end up telling you like a list of people. I can tell you right now, Daniel Batal, Roberto Blake, Brian G. Johnson, Daryl Eves, Tim Schmoyer, all of them offer consulting on a regular basis, and they're all fantastic at it. So I recommend that you definitely reach out to them. Some people do one-on-one, some people do group coaching, things like that. But I recommend that you reach out to, all of the above, all those people that I mentioned for that. But in terms of the @ in the video titles, it's not that when they put that @ symbol in there and they put another creator's name, it's because they are essentially tagging that creator. So inside of your YouTube Creator Studio backend, when people @ you, it's called a mention here on YouTube, just like it is Twitter and everywhere else. So when they @ you and they put that channel name there, then you'll actually see that in your Creator Studio. So if I go in there, anybody that has added me either in their description or in their title, I'll see it there. So then I can go and watch their videos. If somebody did like a reaction or something like that as an example, then I can see that there. So when people are putting those tags, that's usually what it's for, to let that creator know that there's something in that video that is somehow related to them in some way. Let's see here. So next up, as we keep on going, so the Purple Luna Rose Tarot says they do tarot and astrology. I don't know if it's tarot or tarot. I'm gonna have to look into that. But anyway, the goal of the channel says to help guide people through their spiritual awakening. And the question is, I have 5,000 watch hours. They even gave me a little achievement on my YouTube studio, but only 725 subs. I love that they watch my videos, but do you have any new tricks on gaining subscribers? In terms of tricks, no. Like everything is a process, and I know that you're just, I know that you're not looking for a shortcut, so to speak. But basically, when it comes to getting subscribers on your YouTube channel, it really comes down to you expressing the value that you offer to viewers so that it's very clear to them that the content that you're publishing, that you're doing it on a regular basis, that kind of stuff. Because if they come in and they enjoy one video, let's say they watch it all the way to the end, then in that case, that person's like into that particular type of content. So because of that, you want to make sure somewhere in your video, you can say it in passing, you don't have to interrupt the video for it, but somewhere in your video, you want to let them know just really quick, oh, hey, and by the way, while you're, laying cards down or something like that, right? So in your case, you would be like, hey, laying cards down. Oh, by the way, I put out, I do readings every day or whatever your, thing is. I do readings every day. So remember to subscribe to the channel so you can come back for your daily readings, right? And then you just keep on going with whatever it is that you were doing in the video. So asking people is extremely effective, and I really recommend that you do that. So the Ultimate Quiz channel says, thanks for the super chat, by the way, says, no question, just a little appreciation. I became a member last week and I'm very happy I did. All the advice has so much value. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. And thank you for the super chat as well. And I'm glad that you are enjoying your membership. So hopefully, the replay of the last live stream that we did on Friday, yesterday, that will be posted here early this coming week. I actually have that one and one other one to post. So let's see here. So as we keep on going, we've got LAS Curry. LAS Curry says that they do live streaming education for gamers. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm not sure if you've checked out the Gaming Careers channel or not yet, but he's awesome, by the way. I just love everything about his videos. They look great. They sound great. His presentations are awesome. His topics, he just nailed like everything. I just love it. He's super, he's relatable, all that stuff. But definitely check out his channel just for inspiration. But live streaming education for gamers says they help gamers learn to live stream by helping to start, create, and grow. And what's funny is, it's not funny. I mean, it's just how it is. So, one of the things that you're offering here is that you are helping content creators start, create, and grow. Starting when it comes to live streaming seems to be a huge hurdle for a lot of people. How many people here, just out of curiosity, how many people here would love to live stream, or they're considering live streaming, but you just can't get over that hump yet? You're like, I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous. A little bit nervous here on doing this live stream thing. If that's you, just let me know here in the chat. I'm just curious. So let's see here. So the question is, how can I incorporate storytelling into a tutorial video to start connecting with viewers, as 95% of my viewers are from search and all of my videos are straight to the point, and I'm trying to add more of me to my content. So so we've got a few of them here. We got Mono Reads, Pet Connection International, Slug Missile, Simple Nail Designs, Deanna's, Deanne's, I think that's how you say it, videos. So yeah, so we got a decent amount of people in here, a little bit nervous there on the live stream. So here's the thing is, when it comes to live streaming, what I encourage all of you to do is do a practice live stream. So like StreamYard, for example, you can get like a free trial for that, and you can go and you can just stream like right into StreamYard without making it public. You can go into record only, or you can just go right into the studio part and just do your thing. By doing that, it will just help you just kind of get used to just kind of talking out loud and just kind of letting that free thought go, right? So I really recommend that you try that. But in terms of introducing storytelling, if you look at Ed over at Film Booth, he has a great approach to doing like informational content, but attaching a story to it. Really recommend that you check out his style and how he's actually doing it. It's that type of content. It's not necessary, but it is entertaining along with getting that information. And in some cases, that can also help the information sink in a little bit more as well. But that approach, it's extremely effective, and really it's fresh for this type of content, because typically we do this, we sit here, we talk and all of that. So like his version, Film Booth, his version of sharing information is a really cool version. I really recommend that you check out his, just as inspiration for that. And so you are doing live streaming education, it's going to be along a similar type of thing in terms of what it is that he's doing over there. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, we've got Monster Milgram. Monster Milgram says that they do gaming reaction and real life content. How many gamers do we have in here? If you're a gamer, just identify yourself. Just say me. And the question of the channel, or the question is, my goal is to have 100 subscribers and make friends with other streamers and fans. There's a comma in there, but they're missing a zero. I think they meant to say 1,000. Gambling Granny, good morning. Hope that you're doing awesome. And the question is, how can I make good thumbnails? I edit good, record good, and react good. I just need to know I can get clicks and what I should use. Learn how to use Photoshop. There's a big learning curve. But if you learn how to use Photoshop, then you are going to be limitless on what you can do with your thumbnails. So there's places, you can go, like Canva, for example, or Place It, places like that where you can get a template and you can use that template. But it comes with limitations because it's a template, right? So if you are wanting to like really learn how to like okay, if I can imagine it, I can do it in my thumbnails. If you want to learn how to do that, then learn how to use Photoshop. So I recommend that you go to the Piximperfect YouTube channel. Tons of content there on Photoshop, and he'll help you get familiar with the software. Paul Peck Drywall Tube says YouTube is my real life video game. Yeah. Like when you approach YouTube, all you gamers in here, when you approach YouTube as a game, you guys, I made a video about this a while back. And one of the really awesome things, one of the advantages that you guys have as gamers is that, as a gamer, you're constantly, learning patterns, and you're constantly, looking at like stats and things like that. And you're learning how to do everything quickly and interpret the information quickly and all that. Like, you have a unique skill set that non-gamers don't have. I mean, some non-gamers do have it as well, but basically that ability to be able to, see patterns and stuff, and be able to, go through a specific routine until you learn how to do that routine the most efficient way so that you can win the game, that kind of stuff. If you apply that skill set to YouTube, and you look at YouTube like it's a game, just like the games that you play, then you'll excel here and you'll do great. But you just have to, put that same energy and that same perspective into what it is that you're doing on YouTube, and you'll just crush here. But you just have to make sure that you actively do that. Let's see here. So next up, I should say, not next one. So next one, we're 10 questions in already, which means we're cruising right along comfortably here. So Passion Video Production says GIMP is also a free alternative to Photoshop. Absolutely, GIMP works. You can also go to photop.com, which is a website as well. But the next question here is from Sheila's World. What's up, Sheila? Hope you're doing great. Says that the type of channel is a personal finance and lifestyle channel. The goal of the channel is to grow my audience and get monetized. The question: does YouTube unsubscribe people from my channel every day? I lose at least 2. No. So what happens is YouTube does delete subscribers, but they only delete subscribers if they are bot accounts, basically the system has identified them as bots, which means that they're computer programs that people have created accounts for that go in and they use YouTube like a regular user. So when YouTube identifies those bots, they get deleted. In addition to that, you know all those videos or all those comments that you get in your YouTube videos where people are like, hey, subscribe to me, subscribe to you, hey, hug for hug, things like that, and they leave that same comment all over the place. Or the one that I'm noticing a lot recently, and I'm starting to think that this is my conspiracy theory, but I'm starting to think that this is also like a way that people are doing that as well, to where they'll say something in the comments like, hey, if you're just getting started, we've got this, just keep, your head down and, we're going to achieve it. And then they always put an emoji at the very end of it. So it's like this very specific phrase and little variations within that phrase. And then there's always a little emoji after it. But anyway, like all of those things, when it's that same, essentially spammy type of comment that they leave, just a copy and paste type of thing to leave in a bunch of videos, then that actually gets qualified as spam. And when YouTube is going through and they are deleting accounts, spam accounts also get deleted. And if you're somebody that is doing that type of stuff, just a heads up, you are at risk of getting your channel taken down when they do make those when they do delete those. But in addition to that, if you are losing subscribers, it's also important to understand that people unsubscribe. Just like you have people subscribe because they're interested in what it is that you're doing, you also have people unsubscribe because maybe the next video didn't resonate, or maybe they subscribed for one thing, but then you publish something that's completely unrelated to that video they subscribed to, things like that. People will unsubscribe for those reasons as well. Like me. Right? I have a video coming out on Monday about how to make a great tutorial video for your viewers. And one of the things that I mentioned in there is, I'm trying to get better at music. So I'm watching a lot of, tutorials and things like that, software tutorials. And a lot of that happens on my phone. And a lot of these tutorial channels that I've been subscribed to, I'm like, hey, I'm sitting here trying to watch this on my phone, and you're just doing a screen recording of like a full interface. And like, I can't see what you're talking about. So because of that, I'm like, okay, I'm unsubscribing here because I'm usually watching this on my phone and they're not, accommodating me as a mobile viewer. So I'll just go watch somebody that is accommodating me as a mobile viewer, that's sharing the same exact information and the same exact, tutorials. So, so if you are somebody that does tutorials, make sure you watch that video that's coming out on Monday. But anyway, on this one, it's Sheila's World. And we got her taken care of here. So let me move on to the next question, which takes us to 11. And really quick, freaking awesome. Thank you for the freaking awesome super chat. I appreciate it. Freaking awesome super chat. I appreciate it. So let's see here. So as we keep on going, we got One Step is the next one here on our list. They do gaming content as well. The goal of the channel is to create an amazing community and do what I love for a living. And the question, as a gamer, I started 3 years ago when Fortnite was big. After that, I changed to just what was popular. But the last year, I made a decision to do what I absolutely loved and I'm really good at: fighting games, Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat, and others with tutorials, challenges, how-tos, reactions. The past year has been the highest growing months my channel has ever seen, and I love what I'm doing. I want everybody to hear that. I'm going to read that. I'm going to read that again, just because there's so many gamers in here. I'm just going to read that part again because I really want you to pay attention to this. For all of you that are making videos on a particular game and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid to start making videos on another game or make videos about the stuff that I love because this is what's working right now. I'm afraid to add more to it. I started 3 years ago when Fortnite was big. After that, I changed to what was popular. But last year, I made the decision to do what I absolutely loved and I'm really good at, which is fighting games, Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat, and others, with tutorials, challenges, how-tos, and reactions, right? So basically what they're doing is they're doing the content that they enjoy, so they're having a great time doing it, and people can feel that. People will know, right, that you're enjoying your content or not. So they're having a great time doing it, and they're doing content that's easily consumable. Tutorial content, how-to content, reaction content, specific challenges, things that make people want to watch videos, not just focusing on Let's Plays. But the past year has been the highest growing months of my channel has ever seen, and I love what I'm doing. Question, though. Fighting games have almost nothing in common with Fortnite, Call of Duty, and stuff. So to go back and delete those videos that have nothing to do with what I currently do or leave them as is, why and why not? Thanks so much. Okay, so I'm going to give you some things to consider because the path that you're walking on right now is the right path. However, you do have those old videos on your channel, but if people are enjoying that new content and you're bringing them in because, you're doing these tutorials or doing these challenges and they're enjoying what it is that you are doing, then that other content on your channel is going to be perfectly okay, because some of those people will watch it. Some of those people will enjoy it because you're making it. So what it is that you're doing right here is you are sliding into the golden territory, so to speak, of I'm just doing what I love and I'm good at it, because that's another important part, right? Because if you suck, then in that case, it's a little bit more difficult, because then people won't want to watch it if you're just getting, just like slayed all the time. But like the fact that you're like, hey, I'm doing something I absolutely love, people are resonating with that. And you're people are resonating with it because you're doing something you love, you're good at it, and you're also making content that is easy on the discovery side, tutorial challenges, things like that. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't even worry about those old videos right now. But what you want to do is, as you continue to pick up steam, pay attention to those older videos. And if you do notice any of them like taking off and like your stats getting wacky in terms of like recent videos not performing as well, or if you have like some of those videos that are driving the channel, then in that case, just kind of look at those and think like, okay, am I able to, bring any of those people in and, get them transferred over into the other content? But if you notice like, hey, I'm getting like hardly any, of like returning viewers on this like new stuff or whatever, because this Fortnite video just popped and it's like driving the channel, then in that case, that's where you want to consider doing things like that. But for now, just keep moving in the direction that you're doing. You're doing awesome. Just keep walking down that path. Okay, so next up on our list here, we've got, let's try making. The type of channel is food and lifestyle. The goal of the channel says, I want to free myself from the time equals money model and explore my creativity. Question, at which point should you consider switching out your thumbnails? How do you know if they are not working? So the very first thing that you want to do, actually, I'm going to talk about two things here. The very first thing is, if you are somebody that is wanting to get away from the time equals money thing, and you're trying to, embark on this content creator adventure as a way to generate income, I want you to know that it's important that you start working on your monetization now. A lot of people will just wait for that. They'll be like, hey, once I hit this milestone, or once I do this, or once I do this, then I'll start, implementing some monetization strategy to what it is that I'm doing. You want to start doing that now. And the reason you want to start doing that now is because your next video could go to the moon. And if it goes to the moon, you want to make sure that you have something in there in addition to ads. You want to make sure that you have something in there that you can monetize in addition to ads. And the reason for that is because ads will go up and down, right? Ads will go up and down. Sometimes channels get demonetized. They get caught in like collateral damage because of some stupid company is like claiming, songs or something weird. And then you end up losing your monetization temporarily, or, for a while, whatever. And because of that, you want to make sure that if you are going to lean into this as something full time, that you also have some additional things that are driving you income as well. Because if you have 10 different things that are making you $1,000 a month, then you're making $10,000 a month, right? If you have just your ad revenue that's making you $10,000 a month, then you probably won't sleep that great at night. But if you have, 10 different things that are making you 1,000, then it's much easier to sleep, because if one of those goes down, then in that case, you have the other ones to kind of carry you. So because of that, if you are wanting to do this full time, definitely make sure that you are looking for other monetization, other ways to monetize what you're doing. But with that out of the way, because I had to get that. I'm like, okay, they're wanting, like, you're like, hey, the time money thing, which to me, that's like, hey, I've had enough, right? So I want to try something on my own. So so that's why I wanted to mention that really quick. But at what point should you consider switching out your thumbnails? So what you want to do is, when it comes to your thumbnails, is you want to get used to, and you want to just kind of look for a general baseline of like, okay, on my channel, typically by the time I reach this many impressions, I'm typically able to maintain a click-through rate of, X or higher. And when you do that, then you can use that as a gauge. If you're like, hey, within the first, 3 hours, this is what I normally get. Within the first day, this is what I normally get. And if you notice that it's like, hey, I'm like kind of, in the same range, but it's not quite nailing it yet, then of course you have the option to change it, but keep in mind changing it can hurt or help. But then you might also say like, hey, let me just give it a little bit of time because it's heading in the right direction, and then, it might be fine. But if you're like, hey, this is way lower than what I normally get, then in that case, make sure you consider the topic, because that matters. Make sure you consider the title, because that also impacts your click-through rate. But look at the entire thing and be like, okay, is the topic just not resonating? Is there any way that I can reframe this topic and the thumbnail and title together? Or am I just going to swap the thumbnail out and lean on that as the thing to move me forward? But at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to just start looking for what normal looks like on your channel. And then you always want to try to hit normal and above, right? So if you notice you're considerably low, then in that case, that's where you want to go and you want to start messing with stuff. Saw somebody mention Roberto. Do we have Roberto Blake in the house? Roberto, hope you're doing awesome if you are hanging out here today. Rodsters TV
Super chat.
says, thank you for the super chat, by the way. Says, many big French YouTubers don't add English subtitles despite the added value. 20% of views here. Is there any downside with subs in your video? So when it comes to subtitles, no, there's no downside outside of the time of actually making it, right? So when it comes to your subtitles, of course you have, YouTube that will auto caption, then you just have to add them there. But if they are speaking French, then in that case, they would have to go through the process of translating. So if they don't want to go through that trouble of just translating everything, that could be the thing. If they don't want to pay money every time to like somebody like rev.com as an example, then in that case, it could just be like where they're like, hey, it's just not worth it for me. So, in some cases, that's totally fine. But in terms of any downside of having subtitles in your videos, absolutely not. Because, the more you make your content accessible, the easier it is for people to consume it. And the easier you make everything on YouTube, the better off you're going to do. And when it comes to your subtitles in your videos, one thing that you do want to consider though is that 20% of views, if it's a small amount of views, then in that case it's a substantial number. But if you have a lot of views and it's 20% and it's a much smaller number, then that's also just kind of like, okay, where am I prioritizing my time? Where am I prioritizing the things that are moving the needle versus the things that aren't, to where you can really focus on the things that are really moving stuff, and then you continue to do your subtitles just so you can make sure that you're also covering the details and the small things that also help move you forward as well. But at the end of the day, it's beneficial to have subtitles in your videos. People use them. It makes your content more accessible. And even if you're speaking French, then in that case, if you have English, subtitles in there, then I don't speak French. I learned it in high school, but I don't remember any of it. But I speak, I don't speak French. So because of that, if I were to run across your video, that might help me consume it. But as an English speaker, as a native English speaker, in my case, if I run across a video where they don't speak native English, then I'll just go find a native English speaker that's talking about the same thing. So the only reason that doesn't work, if it's something like a documentary or something that's a really unique piece of content that I can only get it in another language. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list here, we're like 13 questions in already. We're like cruising through these. And here in just a minute, I'm going to go ahead and just start popping some of these out of the comment section too. So if you have a question, go ahead and get it ready. I'll just do a quick lightning round and then we'll hop back into the forum. Let's see here. Next up on the list, we've got Ed, the reselling writer. Ed, the reselling writer, says that they do reselling and online marketplace such as eBay's, Poshmark, Mercury, and Facebook Marketplace. And the goal of the channel is to grow the channel. Question: do you have any advice for online reselling content makers that sell online as eBay and other marketplaces? I can't find much advice for this niche other than the big YouTubers, which YouTube became their bigger money maker than reselling. So definitely check out Reezy Resells if you haven't yet, just because he's great in that space. But anyway, you also want to, when it comes to that type of content, a great thing to do is go and look for all the different questions that people have around that type of content and make videos about them. So then that way you're answering all these different questions. You'll have videos show up in search. Try to be as compelling as you can, because then that will help you get more recommendation views as well. But at the end of the day, I would mix direct educational content with like real life, follow me along in this journey stuff. So I would experiment with that and see how it works. So basically, some of your content would be you just sitting there talking to the camera, the easy stuff to make, sitting there talking to the camera, telling people all your tips and tricks that you have that help you make money doing that. And then for the additional stuff, when you actually hit the road and you're like, hey, we're going to go and, we're going to raid this like Goodwill or whatever, or this garage sale or whatever the thing is, we're bringing you along. We're going to show you exactly what it is that we're looking at, the different apps we're using while we're right here on the spot, things like that. And that gives you a chance to like really get people into your personality, maybe even introduce them to your friend group that if you typically take them with you to do that sort of thing. But by doing that, that helps you connect with them on the personality side, with that type of content. And then that helps you add that direct value in terms of like, take this information and then go make money with it. then you'll have that content on your channel. And then you can also do the content where you take them along for the personality side to help them, resonate more with you. Let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list, go ahead and drop your question. So basically what you want to do, if you have a question, just put a Q in front of it. And I'm starting here at the very bottom of the chat right here in just a second. As soon as I say drop your question, that's where I'm going to just move this all the way down to the bottom of the chat. So don't drop it yet. But basically what you want to do is you want to make sure you put a Q in front of your question. That helps me, if this is your first time here, this helps me identify that your question is for me and not a side conversation that you're having in the chat. So, so now go ahead and drop your question in the chat. We're going to go back into the form here in just a little bit as well, but go ahead and drop your question in the chat now. And I'm just going to start here right underneath Doug's comment where he's talking about Kelly, or where he's mentioning Kelly there. Okay, so the first one, can you talk about keyword targeting? I mean, outside of like TubeBuddy score, you know, optimizing for humans. Thanks. Absolutely. So this is a great question. So when it comes to keywords on YouTube, the idea is that when people are looking for something, they're thinking about it in a certain way. So because of that, you want to match how they're thinking about it. So of course, you know, YouTube gets context and all that, but they're going to figure it out anyway. But what you're doing when you are optimizing for specific keywords or keyword phrases is that you're helping the people that are looking for that keyword or keyword phrase. You're thinking about how they might be looking for it. You're actually using, you know, some of the tools to uncover how they're looking for things, and then you're matching how they're looking for things. So if I'm looking for, you know, how to, you know, make a great cup of coffee, and your video that I see there in the search results is how to make a great cup of coffee, or make a great cup of coffee in, you know, in 3 minutes, or make a great cup of coffee with like cheap coffee beans, or, you know, something that's a little bit more compelling, then in that case, you got me, right? Because that's exactly what I'm looking for. And in addition to that, when it comes to keywords on YouTube, another thing that helps with is that helps people, like even on home pages. Like if somebody's interested in, you know, like making, you know, something for, you know, making great coffee, then in that case, if it shows up on their homepage, you want to make sure that that's as close to the front of the title as possible. With all of your videos, with everybody here, with all of your videos, you want to make sure the thing that's the most compelling, or the thing that is, you know, going to resonate the most with the viewer, you want to make sure that's as close to the front of your title as possible, because especially if you're reaching an English speaking market, because we read from left to right. So if you grab their attention with your thumbnail, as soon as they drop to the title, you want to make sure that they know, like, hey, this is absolutely something that that relates to me, right? Because that keyword that lets them know what the video is about essentially is going to be right there in their face. So that's what you want to think about when it comes to keywords and keywords phrases, when it comes to YouTube and targeting specific keywords. But at the end of the day, because you mentioned here, you know, let's talk about the human side. At the end of the day, when it comes to your thumbnails, you want to make sure that you are considering those as well, because, you know, your thumbnail and your title work together as a team to win the click. So because of that, you want to make sure that you are considering, like, hey, I've got this keyword here in my title, but is there something that I can also put in my thumbnail that's going to help grab somebody's attention there as well, right? So so when it comes to, you know, optimizing for humans, make sure that everything is just big, bold, and easy to read in your thumbnails, and make sure that that as long as it applies to the type of content that you make, as it relates to this specific question, that you do have, you know, a keyword that helps the people identify something about what the video is about. Now, of course, you can do, like in your case, because you teach language. So in your case, you could do something along the lines of, even if they're, you know, even if you're not targeting a keyword, you could still use a keyword that would grab that viewer's attention in your thumbnail. And then you could use in your title, like, these 3 phases will get you punched in the face, or whatever the thing is. That would be like, whoa, you know, I want to make sure I learn those so I don't get, you know, punched in the face, right? So then you can, you know, make your title a little bit more compelling that way. And that was an extreme example with the, you know, punch, but you get the idea. So Martonic says, do you have any tips for increasing how many views shorts get? I want my shorts to be in the shorts feed for longer. I'm fairly new to shorts. So when it comes to YouTube shorts, the idea there is just like everything else on the platform, people have to enjoy it. In terms of, you know, watch it for a longer period of time. If you can get people looping your short, that's even better, because then they're watching that short more than one time, which is a huge win on all the platforms that allow that short form content. So, you know, that's definitely a win, but definitely, you know, trying to get people to like the video, getting to subscribe, any type of additional engagement that you can get is going to help you out too. So of course, you know, people enjoying the short and people engaging with the short, like those 2 things are the things that are going to make it move more than anything. And also one thing that's really important, and I mentioned that I was going to talk about this earlier, and then I just didn't. But one thing also to remember when it comes to YouTube shorts, you know, we'll talk about that later. I don't need to bring it up unless it actually comes up in a question. So, because I mention it all the time. Okay, so Nick, what is the other subscribers? I have had heaps of them being scrubbed from my channel. It is yo-yoing my subs, and it's way weird. I'm not sure. what other subscribers is. I'm not sure exactly where it is that you're seeing that. I haven't seen other subscribers on any of the stuff that I have, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that is. But in terms of, you losing subscribers, just be aware that, when you lose subscribers on YouTube, it's normal. I've lost over 250,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel since I've started. It's probably much higher than that now because I haven't checked in a while. But I've lost over 250,000 subscribers since I started my channel. So just be aware that it's normal to lose subscribers and for your subscriber count to go up and down. How to make a thumbnail when the topic isn't very visually appealing. That's where you can lean on text for it. So like if you're like, you know what, I just can't think of anything that can visually represent what it is that I'm talking about, then that's where you're like, okay, let's just go ahead and just drop some text in the thumbnail and just make sure that the text that you're using is big, bold, easy to read, that you're using as few words as humanly possible, and make sure that that text that you're using isn't vague, that it helps the people identify that your content is something that would matter to them. Like in your case, making sure that you have genealogy in there or like family, like that word in there, because those are the things that will help your audience identify that stuff or identify that it's something that they care about. So just make sure that you're doing that instead of like, this will surprise you. Right? Because that at a thumbnail, that doesn't really add, much context. Of course, some people will drop down to the title and that, can definitely win a click. But at the end of the day, you want to make it to where when a homepage loads up, when, with whatever words you choose, that the person that, you're trying to reach that cares about genealogy or, family history or any of that, that, their eyes are going to be pulled to that because it's something that they're interested in. Let's see here. What are some good ways to get collabs living abroad since I live in China? I'm in Thailand. So basically the approach that you want to take when it comes to your collaborations is you, of course, want to do everything remotely. What I typically do with mine is if somebody is here or if I'm in the States, then I'll do some there. But if it's a collaboration to where everything's remote, what you want to do is you want to set up a Google Doc. Set up that Google Doc so you can share it with the other person, and then you guys can outline, the different stuff that you're going to be talking about and all of that. If you have any scripts or anything like that that you also want them to look at and vice versa, then in that case, create a Google Drive folder and then put the doc that is basically your working doc of who's going to be saying what and all of that. And then you can add additional docs in there for, scripts and things like that. In addition to that, with having the Google Drive, if you want to, you can also add thumbs and, things like that in there for each of you to review if you want to take it that far. But if you're doing a collaboration, you should trust the other person to do their thing. But having that note to be like, hey, I'm saying this, you're saying this is how we're handing off, and basically getting the basic structure of the collaboration together can be really helpful. But basically what you do then after that, because you have that Google Drive, it comes with your YouTube account. So what you can do then is have them make their parts of the video, and then once they make their parts of the video that you're going to be using, upload it to Dropbox or to Google Drive, and then you can download those there and then add them to your videos or, mix everything together. And then if you have to get videos to them, then they do that same, or you do that same thing where you upload it into Google Drive, and then they can download it on their end and then add it to their videos. Other things that you can do is you can, depending on the type of content you make, of course, your channel name is Lens Life, so I'm guessing that you are doing something about cameras. So in that particular case, if you're doing stuff like I am, where you're just sitting here talking, then in that case, you can have it to where, you introduce them, and then when they start their video, they basically just give you the content, essentially. But then they, it would be like, oh, hey, thanks, because you wouldn't want them to say, thanks, Lens Life, but let's say that your name is Mark, right? Then they'd be like, hey, thanks, Mark, and then they would get into the content. So then that way you could be like, hey, over to you, Greg, or whatever their name is, and then they'd be like, hey, thanks, Mark, and then they get into the content. So it just makes kind of like a little conversational transition between the two. Other things that you can do, and Brian G. Johnson and I have done this in the past as well. One thing that you can also do is if you are going to have a conversational type of collaboration, then in that case, you can just open up Skype or something, and then you would just talk and do your thing, and then they would talk into their camera and do their thing, and then you would talk into your camera and do your thing, and then you have Skype open, and then you guys are just playing off of each other in Skype to make everything kind of seamless that way, so that when you do get each other's footage, everything just goes together perfectly, and there isn't any mistakes within that. Jackie Hero Food Review says, hey there, Nick Nimmin, how are you? Hey there, everyone. Awesome to see so many cool channels here. Welcome to the Nimminati, Jackie.
To the Nimminati.
So, hey, when you get the chance, make sure that you go to nimminvip.com. That is our members-only Facebook group. Fill out all the information on the way in because that's how I verify that you're a member. If you can do that before the stream is complete, then I'll get you in there as soon as the stream is complete. Okay, so let's keep on trucking here. Can you make well-made gaming videos on a slow computer? Yeah, but it's just going to be a slow process. It'll probably come with a lot of headache. So when it comes to videos and how taxing they can be on computers, if you have a weak computer, you might be better off doing it on your phone because phones are amazing these days in terms of the processing power. If you have like an iPad or something, or just a modern tablet, then you can really, do some damage on those. So in a good way, that's what I like. You can those things will just burn through video footage, which is great. But in terms of a slow computer, when you have a slow computer like this one that I'm on right now for this live stream, it's a slower computer, and then I have my beast over there for video stuff. But basically, when it comes to the slower computers, you can definitely do video on them, but you might have just extreme lag, huge wait times when you're waiting for like proxies to show up or whatever. Like when those types of things happen, it can be frustrating, but it'll get the job done. You'll just have to spend a little bit more time. And like your render, where I might be able to render something out here on my machine, like I can go faster than real time on my renders, which means that if I have a 5-minute video, I can render it out in like 4 minutes or maybe even 3 minutes or maybe even 2, depending on, all the filters and stuff. But when it comes to a slow computer, that same render that would take me a few minutes might take you all night, like this computer right here would. So like this computer right here, if I rendered a video out on it like I used to, then in that case, like I would have to let this thing sit for like hours for it to fully render through everything. How to build a community. First, add value. Second, try to be engaged with everybody. Answer all your comments, all of that. Also, try to make additional things that people can participate in. So that means, maybe Facebook groups, public Facebook groups. That means, subreddits. That means Discord communities. That means, what's the new one, Doug? Let's see here. It's called, let's see. I think I'm going to start using this too. It's called, this is what it is, but I can't, but I'm not sure what the, oops. Nope. There we go. This is what it is, but I can't remember what the name of it is off the top of my head. Volley. That's it. Yeah. So, you can use Volley, things like that in order to create additional touch points with people, because the idea with community is that, you can, make your content and then you'll have people that continually come back for the comments and all that stuff. But then you're going to have some people that are just more engaged than other people. And some of those people, you're going to get to know them. Some of those people, you'll end up, like having coffee with them or hanging out with them, or you might even become friends with them or whatever. So it's like, having those additional places where you can interact with people is definitely advantageous. Let's see here. What are other YouTube features and traffic sources? Those are features that don't fall into the main categories. So I used to have a list off the top of my head. I can't remember, but I used to have a list on what some of those were. But in terms of other YouTube features, it basically is just anything that doesn't fall within the main features. Nick, what's the other subscriber? Oh, okay, we talked about that one already. How do I get more views as a music channel? So what I recommend that you do, of course, I'm not sure exactly what type of, okay, you have beats as part of your name. So the first thing I'm sure you've heard is, of course, making like tight beats type content, making sure that your imagery is tight, because, that's one of the things that, people will choose, because if you have 10 different videos on, Travis Scott type beat or something like that, then if you have 10 different videos on that, then, the one with like the coolest images is the one you're going to click on. So either that or the one that has a lot of views on it, or maybe depending on the length, all those things are a factor. But you just want to make sure everything that it looks good, make sure it sounds good, make sure it's original as well. So if you're just downloading music from some other copyright place, then you're uploading it to YouTube as your own, then you're going to have a hard time getting going, because it's similar to everything else out there. But if you're making original music, then it kind of gives you a leg up, because then if people start interacting with your content and they start enjoying it because it's original and they can't get it anywhere else, then of course, YouTube will start showing the content to more people. But in addition to that, you also want to make sure that you are targeting your content, some of it for search as well, and that you're also using playlists on a regular basis, because people, when they want to listen to music, they'll type in, like, hey, this is the type of music. Some people will just type in like a song name. Some people put in an album name. Some people will just put in a genre. Like I'll put in a genre when I'm looking, and then sometimes I'll do genre plus playlist. So You want to make sure that you're using playlists, that you're updating them on a regular basis, that you're including your music as playlists, that you're including your music with other people as playlists, and that you're doing that on a regular basis, and that you're optimizing those playlists so that when people are typing those specific things into YouTube search, that some of your playlists are going to come up there, and then that'll be another way that you can introduce people to your content. So those are ways. In addition to that, music channels also collaborate as a way to get traffic as well. So my brother and I are starting a music channel here soon. Basically, we're creating a service where you guys are going to be able to just get a bunch of free music on your YouTube channels, and you'll be able to see what we do there as well for bringing attention to that. But at the end of the day, though, when you're trying to bring attention to what it is that you're doing, you want to think about, for everybody here, for the type of content you make, you want to think about, okay, how do people actually find the type of content that I have? Like, what are ways that people find music? And in your case, ask everyone you know, okay, here's my phone. Find a song or look for some type of music, or like, here's my phone. I'm going to sit here and watch you do it. Or here's my computer. Go on YouTube right now and just find some music that you want to listen to and watch them and see exactly what they do. And like, as they decide to click on something, be like, why'd you click on that one when there were like 5 other ones with the same exact title? Like, why did that one resonate? And literally like ask your friends that information so that you can just start getting some idea on how people are searching for or looking for or finding music content. But the type beat type stuff, just to kind of go on with that one for a second, the type beat type stuff, the idea there is that, if you upload a song and it's called, Ring the Bell, then in that case, if there are other songs that are ring the bell that are already popular, then those of course will dominate, the search results. But you still might show up on home pages and things like that. But that Ring the Bell song, there's not really a lot of information there in terms of if it does show up on a home page to where somebody's like, oh, I want to go in and listen to this. But if you leverage popular musicians, like I said before, like Travis Scott or Kanye West or whoever else is out there, but basically if it's like, hey, this is a Drake type beat or something like that, then what you're doing in that situation is you're leveraging that person that is already popular, and then by doing that, the people that are into Drake, for example, when they see that type beat, like Drake type beat, then they'll go in and they'll listen to it and they'll be like, oh yeah, this does kind of sound like a Drake beat or whatever, but that introduces them to what it is that you're doing. Next one that we have here on the list, I did 200 live streams where I roughly stutter, each being 2+ hours long. German is my native, but English only channel. How can I not stutter in video records? So live streams, like, you just communicate how you communicate. So live streams, like, there's not really a way around that unless you just speak really slowly in order to make sure that you get through that. I'm not sure exactly where that happens. But for live streams, you're kind of stuck there. But when it comes to the video content, all you have to do is when you're making the video, say what you're going to say and make a few different versions of what it is that you're going to say. So for example, I actually have a video on my channel. Hey, Walter's World. What's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. It says, now I need to know if Nick is wearing Yeezys. No, I'm not. Definitely not. But when it comes to, stuttering in videos. So I have a video on my channel that shows my entire recording process. And with that recording process, I give, tips and tricks and all of that as I'm going through it, but it's a little bit different than the regular videos that I have on my channel. But I really encourage you to watch that one in your case specifically, because it shows you how, like, when I'm making videos, like, I'll say, like, let's say, for example, I'm making a video right now, and that video is about this mug, right? Then in that case, I'd be like, like this particular clip would be something like, one of the things that I really like about this mug is, it has this nice white glossy finish on it. So, I can put my fingers on it. It's not going to leave anything. And then if I lose my train of thought like that, then I would just start over. I'd set the cup down, and then I would say again. The thing that I really like about this mug is that, it has this white glossy finish on it. And when I put my fingers on it, I don't have any fingerprints to make it look messy while I'm sitting here drinking my coffee. And I really love that part. And then that one sounded pretty good. So if I want to make sure that I have a good take for it, then I would do it again. So the thing that I really like about this cup right here is that I have this glossy finish on it. And me personally, I put my finger, of course, all over the place. I know we're supposed to grab it by this thing over here, but, sometimes I'll just grab it by this, and it makes my coffee cup look really messy, especially when I'm on a live stream. So I really like this one because when I do that, it doesn't pick up my fingerprints, which is great. So what you do in that situation is you create the advantage for yourself by having multiple takes of the same clip, so that when you put it into your computer to edit it, or your phone, whatever it is you're editing your videos on, that you have more material to work with, so that if you do stutter, then in that case you can say, okay, this part I stuttered, so let me take it again, or let me say a little bit of this clip and then pause for a minute, maybe say it out loud a few times, if that helps. I'm not sure. But say it out loud a few times, and then again, say the end part of that, right? So then you basically start recording in a way that will help you edit your content together to where the stutters won't be as noticeable. So hopefully that helps. Do you know what percentage of users are mobile versus desktop? I know more than 70% of the watch time on YouTube comes from mobile devices. So hopefully that helps. So make sure, just as a quick side note here, and I'm going to say that again for everybody, for those of you in the back, right? So when it comes to your videos, more than 70% of the watch time on YouTube comes from mobile devices. What that means is, when you are making your videos, if you use any graphics, if you are, like in this case, right? Let's say, here, let me turn this off real quick. Okay, so let's say that I'm making a video here about my phone, right? So if I was making a video about my phone or something like that, and I had this overhead shot, what I would want to do for mobile viewership is I would actually want to bring this down, and I would want to zoom in so that anybody that was watching my video, they got as much of this phone filling the screen as possible, because if they're watching on a mobile device, I want them to be able to easily consume my stuff. Same exact thing goes, right? Let's say I'm doing a camera review, right? If my camera's way down here, it doesn't really do anything, right? Because they can't really see the detail. However, if my camera's up here, if you're watching that on a mobile device, of course, I would need to work on the lighting there. But if the camera's up here and I'm on a mobile device, then I can see the camera a lot better. So regardless of the type of content you make sure that you're considering mobile viewership. Make sure that you watch your videos on your phone, and you don't just watch them from the perspective of, like, hey, how is my shot or anything like that. Make sure you're thinking about it from the perspective of, okay, can people clearly see everything it is that I'm talking about here, everything that I'm sharing, everything that I'm showing, my video graphics? Can they read everything that's in my video graphics if I'm doing screen tutorials like I mentioned before? Am I zooming in so they can see all the details and they know exactly where to click and all the places I'm telling them to click and all of that? But make sure you're watching your content on mobile devices, because you'll start to be like, oh, okay, I need to work on this so I can make my content more mobile friendly. And by doing that, you'll end up doing better on YouTube, because you're making your content more accessible for mobile users. Tips for building a community for a newer channel. Focus on the content first, right? Like, as you're getting started, focus on like learning how to do the YouTube stuff more than focusing on growing the community. And the reason for that is because, you need volume. So of course, every person matters and all of that. However, if you're trying to grow a community, you need volume. And in order to get that volume, you need to make sure that you are doing the things that help YouTube show your content to more people, which is you are able to get people to click, able to get people to watch your videos for a competitive amount of time, and you're able to get them to further engage in your content, further engage in your channel, keeping them on YouTube, all of that stuff. So let's see here. So Marty Clement, thank you for the super chat, Marty, says, hey, Nick. What's up, Marty? Says, real estate training channel, 331 subscribers, 85 videos, uploading for 20 months since July 2020. How do you recommend I get 1,000 subscribers in the next 45 days? For that, Marty, I would actually need to look at your YouTube channel and give you some tips based on that. So what I recommend that you do if you're trying to get 1,000 subscribers in the next 45 days is go into your YouTube analytics, look at the content, and you can see this. You can actually sort by this. Go in, look at the content that's driven subscribers on your channel, and then get into the psychology of why you think that those videos drove more subscribers on your channel, right? So at the end of the day, those videos, and don't just look at it from like, hey, this one has more views and therefore it has more subscribers. That's not always the case, but if it is, then, just consider that, but just look more at the conversion. Like, people are converting at a higher rate on this video. Why do I think this one's resonating with people, or they're getting more value out of this compared to the other stuff? And then start thinking, okay, what else can I make that can introduce that similar type of value, so that as people are coming into that video, they're going to get hit with a similar value, which then will in turn cause them to subscribe more, right? But some things just to consider. is make sure that you are, if you're not already, make sure that you are introducing a call to action in your video in terms of reminding people to subscribe. Don't interrupt your video for it, but just do it in passing. So if you're sharing information, since you're doing real estate sales training, so if you're talking to them about, working with clients or whatever, if you have any type of lull in the video or any place where you can put it, just make a quick mention. Oh, hey, and by the way, if you really want to take your sales, your real estate sales to the next level, make sure you subscribe because I put out videos like this every Tuesday. And then be like, but anyway, and then get right back into your content. But those calls to action are extremely effective. Just make sure that you put the why they should subscribe or why it would matter to them in front of that subscribe call to action. Don't just tell them to subscribe. But those two things will definitely be beneficial. Since you are trying to get subscribers, I'm guessing, I don't know if you're trying to get into the partner program or if you're just trying to hit that mark or not, but another little detail that you can do, and this one's not going to add up to a lot unless you're getting views at scale, but another thing you can do is some of those videos that I talked about earlier that you find in your analytics that have driven the most subscribers. You can also optimize your channel page so that when people watch one of your videos, they go land on your channel page, then as long as the content's still relevant that was driving subscribers, then you can actually focus people on that content near the top of your channel page underneath your uploads playlist so that that's some of the first content that they see, and it's already proven to convert subscribers at a higher rate. In addition to that, with your new content, another thing that you can do as well is you can also drive people into that content that is proven on your channel to generate, a higher conversion for the subscribers as well. So I would definitely do those approaches while you're getting, while you're trying to, hit that milestone. Oh, so you're doing just to hit that target. Yeah, so in that case, I would do all the things that I just mentioned. But, really when it comes to people subscribing to the YouTube channel, of course, the videos have to perform, okay, so they get in front of enough people for the conversion to be able to happen. And then, from there, it's starting to understand, or trying to understand like why people subscribe to some content more than others and why they get certain value from, one piece of content compared to another. But in your case, like you're teaching people how to do stuff, and that right there, I mean, you're training people in real estate sales. So by itself, like that's solid value. Just make sure that you are dropping in a call to action to remind people to subscribe in a non-interruptive way, right? So you just want to do it quickly. I mean, you're teaching people how to do sales, so you know what I mean when I say that. So ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to, give them the, yeah, okay, I want to learn how to do that. I want to learn how to do, the sales training. I want to learn that so that I can, X, Y, Z, and then you close them essentially on the subscribe. Okay, so I'm going to hop back into the forum here for a minute, and then we are going to come back out and we'll start answering the questions out of the chat again, just because I like doing that rapid fire style. But let me first go through some of these super chats, and then we will do that. Right here, the very first one is from Sugarbread. Sugarbread says, my channel's a month old and it still won't auto-populate when it's searched for. People still have to full search Sugarbread and then press search to find me. Any suggestions? Yeah. So make sure that you have, first off, they can go into the filters and they can search by channel, but most people aren't going to do that, but they can if they want. But there's a couple different things. So if Sugarbread is typically people looking for like a food type of recipe, then that will be the stuff that ends up, being more prominent there instead of your channel. So you might have to go down past all of those in order to find your channel. So keep that in mind when it comes to naming your YouTube channel, everybody. But in addition to that, in terms of it not showing up, just make sure that you have your About Me page filled out as well. And on your About Me page, make sure that you put Sugarbread in there somewhere and just, talk about the type of content that you make, why you make it, all that good stuff. So that, that's one of those things that also gets indexed by YouTube. It gives a little bit of context of what's going on in your channel and all of that. So definitely make sure you do that. That can help you pop up in search. Also, do a similar thing in your video descriptions as well. And then some of your videos will pop up. Some of your videos will pop up when people are looking for that also, as long as you're not competing for the Sugarbread, search result, which might end up having a lot of like food related things there, because if it has the food related things and that's what people respond to there, that's what's going to continue to be shown there. So just keep that in mind. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down this list right here, we are going to get into the next one here. Edgar B.
Super chat.
Thanks for the super chat, man. Says, I made a mistake of paying for Google ads. I stopped because I wanted organic views. Now I have trouble getting views. What can I do? So that's the thing, right? We talked about this earlier in the stream today as well. Like when people buy, they try to buy their way to, kind of shortcut milestones and stuff like that. If you don't learn how to get that organic response first, then when you start running ads, once you turn off your ad spend, then you still haven't learned how to get that organic response. Then everything stops, right? So because of that, you just need to roll up your sleeves and just keep working on learning how to get that organic response. So you got to learn to come up with topics that you are proving through your research using, TubeBuddy, for example, or manually doing it, that you're proving that the topics that you're making videos about are something that people at scale are interested in. In addition to that, you got to make sure that your thumbnails are getting clicked on. You got to make sure that your titles are compelling enough to get clicked on. And then once they get into your actual video content, then of course from there, that's where YouTube, because anybody can get somebody to click, but once you get them to click, that's where things really start, YouTube really starts paying attention, so to speak, in terms of like, okay, they got them to click, but what type of experience is this viewer going to have with this content? So if they have a satisfactory experience with your content and it's at a competitive level with the other videos that are on the platform, then in that case, YouTube's going to continue to show your videos to more people until they just stop responding to them at a competitive rate. So because of that, you just want to make sure that you're just going back into learning how to get that organic response, because that's how you build long-term sustainability on YouTube. And here's a cool thing. Once you learn how to get the organic response on YouTube, it's pretty similar. Like you can do that same thing. Like you can start new YouTube channels, you can, start TikTok, you can do all that because you've learned how to make content in a way that people respond to it. And even though there are nuances, between everything, a lot of the core stuff is the same. You learn to present, you learn to edit your videos in a way, you learn how to make the value clear at the beginning of the video, things like that. So that, you can take that to any place that you're going to be making content, which is great. Let's see here. My pleasure. Scrolling the page here. And we got this one. I'm just going to hit it again one more time just for good measure. So just in case, Jackie, you haven't went in there yet, make sure you go to nimminvip.com in order to get into the Facebook group here after the stream is complete today. So I thought there was one more. A malicious cooking. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. And let's see here as we keep going down this list here. I'm just doing a quick check to make sure I got everybody taken care of on the super chat side before I go into the back into the forum here. Okay, there's the real estate one. Got that one taken care of. Thank you so much for answering all the questions. My pleasure. Thank you, everybody for asking the questions. That makes, really, it makes what I do easy because, I've got the information in my brain that I can share. And then, you guys just have to answer the questions. And that makes it easy for me because I just show up and then I can answer questions instead of having to put together like a full presentation every time I live stream, which is great. So, you guys make it easy on me too. So Artemio Silva says, my channel, 1.2 thousand subscribers plus my name on it. Topics, productivity, and job search. I'm a career coach. I want to create another channel based on my entrepreneur journey. Should I rename the current channel? If you all, because you're using your name. So you could, there's a bunch of different options you could take. Like you could still do the same name, but then do like the journey of Artemio Silvia or, Artemia Silvia's journey or, something along those lines. You could take that approach. Or you could, just be like, hey, I'm going to rename this channel into something to where I'm going to build like a separate brand here. And then I'm going to use my name for my actual personal channel where I'm sharing my journey. You can definitely take that approach. But in terms of like what you should do, the very first thing I recommend, hey, Martin, what's up, man? Hope you're doing great. But the first thing that you should do is just think long-term, right? Like think, okay, like in the next 5 years, let's say that you are wanting to change the name of your current channel where you're doing the job search and productivity content. You want to put a channel name or a brand name to that so that you can grow that separately. So then down the road, let's say in like 2 years or 3 years or next month, you can start having other people make content for it and all of that because it's around the brand. So it's not directly attached to you. Then that would be the approach to take. And then on your personal channel, of course, then, you can do anything you want with that because it's your name. But of course, you want to make sure that you are serving a particular audience with that content. But just consider long-term, like, am I trying to build my personal brand or am I trying to build like a separate brand that I can bring other people on for and my personal brand? Because if it's all about your personal brand and you want to be, the center of attention on all the different content, then in that case, then I would do your name on one channel and then I would do your name plus something on the other channel. So then, so both avenues, when people are looking for you, they're going to end up finding both of the channels. Let's see here. So I think that catches us up. I'm scrolling down here just to double check. And scrolling down. This chat's so far up. I'm actually going to go into the tool here. I'm just going to refresh or scroll down anyway, and we're just going to do it that way. Let's see your goals first. Okay, we got that one. We've got that one. French YouTubers covered that one. Channel. Okay, yeah, okay, so that catches us up. So let's get back into the forum and start answering some of the questions out of here. And then here in just a little bit, we are going to just jump. We're going to go back and forth. So I'm going to go into the forum, I'm going to answer a question or two, and then we're going to hop into the chat, answer a question or two, and then we're just going to keep jumping back and forth. So this next one here is from Essentially Crypto. And the type of channel is crypto/financial. And the goal of the channel is to make more people interested in crypto and specifically the token AMI and NFTs. And the question is, hey, Nick, I'd like to know if it's a good idea to not do streaming content or does it affect the algorithm in a bad way? So when it comes to live streaming, we have Video for Bosses that's in here right now. She grew her channel to 1,000 subscribers just on live streams. So just keep that in mind. But when it comes to your live streams and how they're, how it impacts or how YouTube looks at your live streams, as long as your live streams are delivering a similar value to your content, you have people participating in your live streams. And if they were to click into one of your live streams after watching one of your videos, then that live stream would still be relevant based on the interest that those people have. In your case, you're on crypto and financial, so I'm sure it would be fine. I would live stream. I would live stream, and the reason I would do it in your space in crypto and the financial is because anybody can do a little bit of Google research and come up with some good crypto information and make a video about it. That would take somebody, I could do that in an hour, and I could make myself, hey, I'm Nick, and today we're talking about crypto, right? And I could make a video, and it would sound great in terms of crypto. However, when you go live, that's where you get to actually demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. Because, again, anybody could make a video. I could make a video on any topic that you put in front of me, and I could edit the video in a way and present, with the script and everything and be like, hey, this is, guess what? I'm an author now, right? And I can share that type of information. But when it comes to the live stream, that's where you really get to demonstrate that you know your stuff. So in your case, if you're wanting to, leverage the authority of your information, then in that case, I would definitely live stream. Next up on the list, we've got, a good example of this is Tom Nash. So he has a YouTube channel where he talks about crypto and finance and, all of the, stuff that's going on right now, stocks and everything. And on his channel, he live streams, from time to time, and he gets tons of viewers in there. He does fantastic. But one of the really cool things about his streams is when you watch his videos, it's clear he knows his stuff. But when you're watching his videos, it's clear he knows his stuff. But in addition to that, when he goes live, he really goes at him and he really demonstrates how the depths of his knowledge, so to speak. So in your case, on crypto and all that, I would definitely consider it. Next up on our list here, we've got Chelsea's Live Line. And the type of channel is entertainment. The goal of the channel is to inspire individuals to manifest their best lives spiritually and mentally. And the question is, I always do live videos on my channel every Wednesday. When with guests, they are usually 30 to 45 minutes. Should I trim those down to clips and upload short clips of each episode as well and put them in a playlist so watchers don't get overwhelmed with a long video? That's totally your call. So I have a clips channel. We're going to be uploading to that again here soon. So everybody make sure you subscribe to that. I've got a direct link on my YouTube channel page. I'm going over to that. And I think I might have one in the description also. But basically, I do that from time to time. So basically, I've done it myself. I've worked with a few different people, to do it. And it just hasn't, just been that consistent over there. But it's great. That channel, it still gets, it's getting views every day, it's getting subscribers every day, all that good stuff. But people really enjoy being able to go over there and find the clips. I actually, from time to time, I'll have people hit me up hey, dude, come on, we need some of those clips. Because basically I just take the highlights from here and then I put it over there. So, so that will be happening again soon on my stuff, but I definitely recommend that. And the reason I recommend it is because in addition to the main content that you're making, those create a bunch of additional doorways into you and what it is that you're doing. So if you have one piece of content that's a live stream and you leave that live stream by itself and that's it, then in that case, you just have that one piece of content that's working for you. But if you're hey, I can take 10 clips out of this, or 20 clips out of this, or 5 clips out of this, or 2, then what you just did is you took that one piece of content and now you have 2 pieces of content, or 10 pieces of content, or 11, I guess it would be in that case, 11 pieces of content that people can, or that you can use to have people, come into your YouTube channel. So absolutely take that approach. As a matter of fact, Ash Borland, He's in here, or at least he was earlier. I'm not sure if he still is. But if you're looking for somebody to do that, I know he offers like a repurposing service. He might be somebody that you might want to use for that, just because I know that he offers that. I'm having a friend of mine that I know do mine for how we're going to be doing it here soon, probably starting that in March. But Ash does offer that service if you do see him hanging out in the chat here. So let's see here. So next up on our list, we've got Collab Stren. Says that they do gaming tutorials. The goal of the channel is to make quality videos and make an audience. That's what my channel is about. And the question, hey Nick, so recently I've been getting less views even with making videos that what people search in my niche. Is there any way to fix these? Absolutely. So a video topic by itself isn't going to be enough. You have to have all of the things, right? Like, when it comes to YouTube, you have to have the topics, you have to have the thumbnail, you have to have the title, all of those that get people to respond from the outside. Then once they click into the video, you got to get them to respond there too. And you get them to respond there by having a great hook in your video, or, giving some type of reason for them to, want to watch, the video further. Even if you're doing gaming content, add a hook to your video. It matters. But basically having, some type of hook in your video, and then, getting them into the content, not wasting their time, giving them what they came in for, all of that good stuff. And then of course, once they get to the end of your video, of course, making it easy for them to find more of your content and all of that. All of those things are important. Getting people to, engage in terms of liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing your videos, adding them to playlists, all that good stuff. Like, every action somebody can take on your video matters and it counts. So because of that, if your views are going down, it's not just about, hey, I'm making a video about this topic. It's got to be a good video about that topic. And it's got to be a video that you have optimized in a way that's going to get people to click on it. And then once they click on it, of course, they got to enjoy the video. So, if you find your views are going down and down and down, that means you got to get to work, right? I got to get to work. I got to figure out, I got to learn more skills, essentially. I got to learn how to get, people to respond better from the outside. I got to learn how to get people to respond on the inside, so that YouTube will continue to show my content to people and I'll continue to get views coming in. Lil Crafty Nook, what's up? Hope you're doing awesome. Let's see here. So next up, we're going to hop into the chat. So I'm going to take the first two questions that pop up in here as well right now. So if you have a question, go ahead and just put a Q in front of it. And I'm going to answer the first two that I see. And then we will hop back into the, chat from there. So if you have a question, go ahead and drop it in here right now. I'm just going to wait for that question. Make sure you put a Q in front of it because that's how I identify that it's for me and not a side conversation. Shark Scrapper says, oh no, where was it? Said like a good topic, a good title, thumbnail, and a video. It's a tall order. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Hey Nick, this one's clearly for me. For a restoration channel, is it better that the title is about the abbey? I'm not sure what an abbey is. Or can it be the name like Adventures of Olio de Blanc? It's not just the abbey, it's about the town too. For a restoration channel. Yeah, I'm not sure what an abbey is. So basically what you'd want to do is for a restoration channel, if they're coming to you, right, you got to think about the viewer. Everything that we do on YouTube, like, you got to think about the viewer first, because when you think about the viewer first, then that kind of helps solve some of these problems. So what you got to think about is like, okay, if I have a restoration channel, what are people coming into my restoration channel for? So some of that you'll be able to find from your comments and the specific things people say. But at the end of the day, in a lot of cases, they're coming to see something, restored. But they can also be coming in, if a lot of your content, kind of shows people around town while you're doing the restore, you share the history behind it. Some people might be coming in for that too. But basically what you need to do as the creator is you need to think about, okay, why are people actually clicking on this content? Why, when I put a title, when I put a thumbnail, this thing that I'm restoring, and I have this title that explains what it is that I'm restoring, what type of person would click on that and why do I think they're clicking on this, right? And then if you think it's because like, hey, they want to see this restoration, then give them the restoration. If you're like, hey, they're probably clicking on this because it does mention the town and there's a suggestion maybe in the thumbnail or maybe even the title that I'm taking them on some type of tour, maybe that's the thing that brought them in, then of course you want to make sure that you're mixing that in too. But at the end of the day, if you're just starting the restoration channel, the first thing I would do, of course, is I would do a lot of like before and after thumbnails, that kind of stuff, so that they can kind of see like, hey, this is the process I'm going to take take you through this restoration. And then of course, if you do want to add, just some little tidbits about the town and all of that, then what you're going to see if you start experimenting with that, if you're not doing it already, is go look in your audience retention reports for when you're doing those parts in the video. So if you have like the restoration part, if you have like a build up to the restoration where you are walking around town or showing people, different things, then in that case, you want to look in your audience retention reports and you want to see, while I'm walking around town or while I'm showing people this stuff, how are people responding in the video? Or are they just skipping right to the restoration part? Because if they're skipping to the restoration, that tells you like, hey, they want the restoration. If they're, if they're sitting there and they're watching through all of those parts where you're showing them all these different things, then in that case, they're enjoying that too. So then you can continue doing that. But if you notice like, hey, people are leaving when I, go on these, when I'm talking about the town or when I show them stuff about the town or whatever, then in that case, that's where you make that decision. Like, okay, then we're just going to focus on the actual restoration. Oh, you're talking about the title. Sorry. On the title, I would lean the most. I would use that to figure out, what people are responding to in terms of the different approaches that you're taking. But for the title, I would lean on the actual object itself, unless it adds some type of context to the restoration to let them know where it came from. So, for example, like, hey, I found this in the Roman Colosseum and I'm gonna, restore it. Then that's like, hey, this is a pretty historic thing, so I'm gonna watch this video. So, if it adds like a lot of context to it, then of course make sure that you add it. Any tips for thumbnails? Absolutely. Experiment like crazy. Don't commit to anything in terms of like a template or anything like that until you do tons of experimentation. And the reason for that is because a lot of, and companies are really bad about this. And gamers are also bad about this. So gamers, they'll pick like a template. And they will, every video they upload, they'll use that template. Every live stream they do, they use that template. And it's like the same video. If you hit their channel page, it's like, hey, this one video is what it looks like. It's just been, repeatedly put up to this channel. So you want to make sure that there is some type of, way that they can identify, the different content. But you want to make sure that before you do commit to any type of like template, even if it's like a color style or anything like that for your branding, you want to make sure that before you make that commitment that you test and you make sure that that's the most effective thing. So what I typically do is, you'll see on my channel, you'll see I'll rotate through faces and things like that, different faces that I use, different expressions that I use, and it changes. So for a long time, this one with like me with a notebook, super, like people like clicked on that one like crazy. It was really effective. But over time, that one just kind of dwindled away to where it wasn't as effective compared to some of the newer stuff that I was testing. So I started leaning on some of the newer stuff that I was testing. And every now and then I'll even put some of that old one, that old notebook style, every now and then I'll put it back up and I'll just kind of see, like, hey, will they respond to this one again? And sometimes, when I do those experiments, they do, but at scale, the ones that you see me using the most are the ones that people respond to the most. So what you want to do when it comes to your thumbnails, you want to experiment and you want to uncover what people respond to the most on yours. But in terms of tips for thumbnails, what you want to think about is, if possible, if the type of content that you're making allows for it, you want to make sure that the imagery that you're using in your thumbnail helps the potential viewer identify that your content is something they might care about. Of course, this is going to be different across the different content that everybody makes. So like, for example, if you're making, something about cars or sports, then you want to make sure you have a car or something related to sports in your thumbnail. If you are doing like entertainment content or like prank content, then of course you want to make your thumbnails epic because that's the stuff that works for YouTube, right? So you want to have that either that moment right before the prank happened, or you just want to have some like ridiculous looking, thumbnail to where, your eyes are big and, you've got the whites of your eyes. You just Photoshop the heck out of it to like really make your, thumbnail stand out, that type of thing, because that works like crazy for that type of content. If it's cooking content, you want to make sure that you're focusing on the food, that type of thing, because the idea is to help people identify that it's the type of content that it is and that it's something that they would be interested in. And the reason that you want to take that approach is because if somebody's watching a lot of entertainment content or they're watching a lot of prank content, then on their homepage, they're going to see some prank content, because YouTube knows that, hey, when this person logs in, if we show them prank content, they'll typically click on it. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're able to compete for that. So what you want to do in order to make sure that you can compete with that is you want to make sure that you are defining why people would click on what it is that you made. So you can make it pretty, you can do all these things and be like, yeah, that's a nice looking thumbnail by itself. But what you want to make sure that you're thinking about is, okay, when this goes on a homepage, when somebody logs into YouTube or they're sitting there on their phone and they're scrolling through YouTube, what about this topic, title, and thumbnail would make the people that I'm trying to reach stop in their tracks when they see that thumbnail and at least look at it and see like, hey, I wonder what this is about, and read the title, but to where they get a little bit more inquisitive about it. And then hopefully, of course, just click directly in when they see your thumbnail. But the idea is to make sure that through the imagery that you're using, that it helps them identify that it's for them. But the most important thing though, is that you identify it yourself. And if you can't identify why the people you're trying to reach should click on your thumbnail and or title, then in that case, keep working on it until you can define why it would matter to the people that you're trying to reach. Okay, next question that we have here on our list, because there was 2 there. So now I'm going to hop back into the form, and then we are going to hop back into the chat. So let's see here, right here in the form. Oh, and really quick, another super chat came in. Freaking Awesome says, thanks, Nick. Glad you're here to help. Freaking Awesome. Thank you for the support, and I'm glad that you are enjoying the stream. So the next question here is coming from the form, and this form's down in the description, by the way. Says, it's Maya. It's Maya says they do lifestyle content. The goal of the channel is to inspire, entertain, and motivate others to live their best lives. Love that. Says, good evening, Nick. Hope all is well. My daughter and I are creating a course and a paid membership to help other young entrepreneurs start their channels and have multiple streams of income. We're thinking of launching it on Kajabi. Can you please explain the main difference between Kajabi and Uscreen as far as paid memberships and doing live streams for the members only? Thank you. So in terms of Kajabi and Uscreen, 2 totally different experiences for the people that are going to go through your course and for you as the course creator. So both of them are pretty easy to use. They have, pretty much templates that kind of help you get started in terms of like both of them have it to where you can say, okay, like I'm going to do this type of thing, and then it'll kind of build a structure for you, and then you can kind of just, add the content to it. So, so that's a bonus for both of them. But with Uscreen, they also have an option where you can get an app. Now, I know your daughter's younger, and since she's younger, a lot of her viewers are probably going to be on a phone. So in that particular case, if I think Kajabi might have apps now, but I'm not 100% sure, but I know for a fact Uscreen does. But in her case, them being able to access her course through an app could be a selling point for them, because then, everybody's going to be able to, consume it, on their mobile device, wherever it is that they happen to be, without having to actually go somewhere and log in. It's actually an app that makes it a better experience on a mobile device. Another difference is that in Kajabi, of course, you can set up, recurring stuff and all of that. But just the experience that you get in there, it's just pretty much like, hey, these are the videos, and then it's done. But with Uscreen, you can set it up so from the outside, you have this just huge display of, all of the different stuff that you have on the inside. So for example, you could have, like one whole row is like a playlist of like setting up a channel. And then like another whole row is like a setup, like a playlist of like the different ways to monetize. And a cool thing about Uscreen is that you can set it up to where they can pay monthly, they can pay one time, and they can also buy stuff a la carte. So because of that, if they're like, hey, I just want to learn how to do this, then you would have that available for them as an example. So so I think that with Uscreen, it's just a different type of experience. The way that they sell it is that they sell it from the perspective of Uscreen is kind of like your own Netflix of sorts, right? So where you can just kind of keep loading stuff up, and then it just keeps populating, and then over time you just create this behemoth of content. Now the difference when it comes to Kajabi, I'm not sure if Uscreen has this or not, but I know with Kajabi they do have to where like, hey, if they get this part, if they get this far in the course, you can set up automations to where it'll send out emails congratulating them or even nudging them to come back in, that kind of stuff. So, there's advantages and disadvantages to both. But I would definitely set up a trial for both of them and see which one works best. If you want, because you're a channel member. So if you want to connect with me on Facebook, then I will connect you to PJ over at Uscreen or to Rob Balasabas, who is doing like their ambassador stuff. I'll just connect you to PJ. He's the owner. And then he can take you in, he'll schedule a call, and he'll take you in, show you the whole back end, all that stuff, and just show you exactly what it is that you can do in there if that's something that you're interested in. So let's see here. So next up on the list here is from Ickle That's a fun one to say, but they have an art channel, and the goal of the channel is to create a space for people who are new to editing and animation to grow, new to AR editing. I just have started posting videos on my creative journey, sharing what I learn as I go. Do you think this is a good niche? Absolutely. but make sure that you're also adding some type of value, because what you do, like taking people on your journey, there's value in that because it's interesting, but also make sure that you do make some type of content, like teaching people how to do some stuff, like in your case specifically, teaching people how to do some of the stuff that you're doing, because by doing that, it just makes it easier for people to come and be involved with what it is that you're doing, because you're helping them solve specific problems. Mike Phillips, thank you for the super chat, my man. Appreciate it. Glad that you're enjoying the stream today. I hope all is well. So let's see here. So I think that was one out of the form here. So this is number 19. So I'm going to do this one and one more in the form. That takes us to 20 in the form, and then we're going to hop back in the chat over here. So let's see here. So Mr. Crazy Bean says they do tech and Spanish, and the goal of the channel is to teach what I know and hopefully get to monetization. The question says, I just reached 500 subscribers. High five, fist bump to you. Says, can I do streams now? What options open up for me now? So you're going to get the community tab on your YouTube channel. If you haven't noticed yet, you also already got your custom URL when you crossed 100 subscribers. So you just have to claim that if you haven't yet. Because you're doing this on your phone, you might not even see the notification that you can get your, talk in Spanish. As long as somebody else doesn't have the youtube.com/talk in Spanish, you'll be able to get it. If somebody already has it, then just do a variation of it, Talking Spanish Official or YT or, whatever. But in terms of live streams, you could have been live streaming for a long time. So if you're on a computer, then you can live stream right away. But on mobile devices, I think now it's down to, Androids, it's down to like 50 subscribers, and on iPhones, I can't remember. I know Chantel actually corrected me on this when somebody else asked this a while back. So she might be able to help you with the iPhone requirement, because you are doing stuff on your iPhone. But I know on an Android device, I think it's like 50, and then an iPhone might be 100 or something right now. Or they might have lowered that one to 52 to match. I'm not 100% sure. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for the kind words. Okay, so let's do one more question here, and then I'm going to jump into the chat so you get your questions ready, and make sure you have that queue, and don't drop it until I mention. Okay, and then when I'm like, hey, ask your question, then I'll take a few out of there too. Okay, so Chantel says it is 50 for both now. Good. Okay, so this one's from Brandon Bautista. And Brandon says they do vlog style content. The goal of the channel is I enjoy editing and having a creative outlet. The question is, I'm starting to get a steady stream of subscribers from a random video of a tornado I posted 10 years ago, but the rest of my videos are vlogs. Is this outlier video hurting me even though it's bringing in subs? Thank you. So here's the thing. So what you have to think about is, if somebody is watching, if they're coming into your channel for a tornado video that you uploaded 10 years ago, that person, what value are they getting out of that tornado video that you're going to be able to replicate in your vlog content? I'm going to guess it's something completely different. So because of that, if I had your channel, and of course you want to look into your analytics, you want to see, how much activity, if the difference is like that tornado video is bringing in like, 10 subscribers a month, and then my other content's bringing in, like 1,000 subscribers a month, then don't worry about it. But if you go into your stats and you're like, yeah, this one's bringing in like all of my subscribers, then in that case, personally, I would, if it was mine, I would take that video down and just focus everything moving forward on the vlog content. So when you do that, because that tornado video is driving the channel right now, if that's the case, then when you do unlist that one, then what's going to end up happening is you might have a little bit of a rebuild period. So just embrace that and just keep trying to make your content as good as you possibly can to see your way out of that rebuild period. Let's see here. So next up, we've got Chris Can Hoop.
Super chat.
Says, love the videos. I just got monetized 3 days ago. High five, fist bump to you. Nice work. Getting into the partner program, making that YouTube money. Says, I just got monetized 3 days ago. Any advice for going forward, and any affiliate markets you suggest, and how to get clicks on them, especially as a basketball trainer and sports creator. If you're a basketball trainer, I encourage you to actually make a course. Like if you are a basketball trainer and that's what you do, I would create a course around basketball. And then I would optimize your entire YouTube channel to teach people specifically about whatever courses you create around sports. So like, let's say, for example, you start with basketball. Then in that case, I would do the basketball course and then make a bunch of videos that are going to drive people into that course. That's what I would do. So then that way you're going to get your ad revenue, you're going to get that course revenue. And then of course, trying to get people on an email list where you can just share sports tips and tricks and discounts on things that are happening on Amazon around sports and, those sorts of things. Then I would take that approach. I would take that approach as well. But basically, if you're a basketball trainer and you have experience on, coaching people in basketball, I would definitely consider doing some type of course around that, because one course sale, of course, is going to be dependent on how much you sell it for, but one course sale, especially if you're just getting into the partner program and your views aren't that high yet, like one course sale could end up making you more than you make in AdSense for like a whole month. So because of that, if you're just getting into the partner program, if your views aren't, if you're not making that much with ad revenue yet, then I would definitely work on getting a course and then spreading awareness about that through all the video content that you make. And on the affiliate side, I would just go to Google and I would type in, sport related affiliate programs and see what pops up. I would type that in, I would type in a recurring sports affiliate programs and see what pops up there as well, and see if you can find anything that's recurring, because that will be like a whole other arm of income for you. So you would have your ad revenue, any affiliate stuff that you're doing through Amazon or any other sports affiliate programs, and then in addition to that, your course. Those three things by themselves will get you off to a good start. Let's see here. Natalie Heels, thank you for the super chat. Says, hey Nick, talk tags to me. Use them or no? Why or why not? So according to YouTube, they just don't matter as much as they used to, which is fine. However, that box is still there. So until they remove that box, use them. So don't spend tons of time on it. Don't sweat on it. All you got to do is just think about, okay, when it comes to the tags that I'm using in my video, I just need to put some tags in there. I'm just going to put some tags in there. You don't need to, but I'm just going to put some tags in there that are relevant to the topic that I'm talking about, and then just move on. So don't spend like hours, like researching tags and things like that. Use TubeBuddy and go in there and it's going to suggest, certain tags to you. Just go through this simple exercise. Is this relevant to the video? Yes, add it. Is this relevant to video? Yes, add it. Is this relevant to video? No, don't add it. Is this relevant to the video? Yes, add it. And you just go through that process, add a handful of tags, and then move on. Let's see here. See below. Terra Medium and Goddess, thank you for the super chat. See below. I'm not sure what I'm looking for there. Oh, okay, here we go. YouTube is burying my vids. All videos that I upload, I check to make sure that they meet standard 100%. They come back limited monetization. I always have to request a review, then it gets manually approved. So keep doing that. It'll figure it out eventually. One thing that I would definitely look for, because of the tarot card reading stuff, that might be the problem in terms of, there might be some trigger that's happening in there. So what I would do is I would look at all of your metadata, look at the captions of your videos, and see if you find any similarities across your videos, because there are trigger words. Like there are things that you can say that will cause your content to get restricted. So just make sure that you're going through and you're like, hey, what are some things that I'm mentioning on a regular basis that might cause my videos to get automatically flagged? Because if they're getting approved on the manual side, that means you're fine. So you just have to look for what's actually triggering that, the system to tag your video or to limit your videos. So I would go through your tags on every video that's getting flagged, go through your metadata, go through your captions as well. And the reason you want to go through your captions is because if you're using auto captions on YouTube, sometimes the system will just mess up just based on how we communicate. Maybe we say something not as clear as we should have. Maybe we say it in a different way based on our accent on where it is that we're at in the world or whatever. And because of that, their AI that's captioning the videos, it will misinterpret something. And when it misinterprets something, it can put something bad in your captions that isn't really what you said, and that can cause you to get limited as well. So because of that, just make sure that you are double checking your your captions, as well as looking through all your metadata for anything that could possibly be triggering it. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list here. Okay, so go ahead and drop your questions. I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom. Actually, wait. Don't drop them yet. I have another one here from Hannity.
Super chat.
Says, thank you so much. I truly appreciate your time and all of your gems and all the support and encouragement. You're a true inspiration. Thank you. And you've helped so much in our YouTube journey and in life. Thank you for the kind words. Super appreciate it. Stuff like that makes me all like warm and fuzzy, right? Like, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Love that type of feedback. It's great. I like the stuff also to where it's like, hey Nick, you're doing this wrong, or you should speak slower, or, you should do this, or hey, your color's off in your videos. I like that feedback too, because that helps me be better. But I like that type of feedback because it lets me know that I'm doing the right thing, right? So thank you for that, Hannity. I appreciate it. Tony Martin says, Nick, using your recommendations in the past 2 weeks, gained 300 plus subscribers and more views. Just wanted to give you a big thanks. Love the channel. Nice work. High five and fist bump to you, Tony, for making those gains. Love seeing that. Nice work. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list, okay, so I'm going to hop in here. Okay, now, okay, I'm at the very bottom here. So I'm going to start here with video for bosses. So I'm just going to lock this one in right here, this particular comment. So go ahead and drop your question in, make sure you put a Q in front of it. And the first, couple that pop up after this one, per my view, are going to be the ones that I answer here. Okay, so the first one here is, do we animated word poetry? We do animated word poetry with music and are struggling to get views and subs. Are we too specialized? It's not that you're too specialized. It's just that when it comes to discovery for that type of content, like you really got to come up with some creative stuff that people want to share once they do experience it. Stuff that just really resonates with them so that they want to share it so that you can, start getting more people coming into what it is that you're doing. Now, another thing that you would want to do as well is if you're doing animated word poetry with music, like it sounds cool. But the problem that you might have is like, okay, well, how are people actually going to find this? Like one of the first things that you have to make sure that you're thinking about when you're publishing content to YouTube is, okay, I'm making this content on these topics. How are people finding content on these topics? So that's why you have people come in here all the time, asking questions about music channels, because those are really hard. Because with music channels, like if you want to make original music, then that music has to touch people in such a deep way that they're sharing it out with everybody they know so that you can get the traffic coming in that way. And then YouTube's like, hey, people are sharing this like crazy, bringing people onto YouTube so we can serve them ads. So therefore, we're going to start showing this video like all over the place on YouTube, right? But like in your case, it's kind of a similar thing. So what I would do, and especially if your videos are like really high quality and what you're putting together is like really awesome, another thing you might want to experiment with is sharing some of your stuff out on like Reddit, for example, and like poetry things there, and just kind of see how people respond to it and see if you can kind of get the ball rolling that way with a more targeted audience there that is into poetry. That would just be one thing that I would think about. And then I would also hop on YouTube search, just go up to the search bar and start typing in all types of different things related to animated poetry, word poetry, animated word poetry with music, things like that. And just look for all the different ways people are looking for that type of content and make some of your content optimized for search as well. If you hit the search, like if you find that and then you hit go and then it shows you the search results. If you see other content like yours there, then definitely try to make some search targeted content as well so that you can get that initial audience of people that are looking for what it is that you're making, because it's just easier to grab traffic from search to get going, to show YouTube essentially like, hey, people are finding me here, but when they do, they're enjoying this content and they're watching it and they're watching multiple videos, things like that. And then when that happens, that's where you start getting recommended more as well. And you start getting recommended more to the right people because YouTube can more easily identify who the right people are. Really quick, let's see here. Rachel, thank you for the super chat. It says, hey, Nick, I made a few reaction videos last month. I got views on them and I gained a couple of subscribers. Is reaction videos a good niche? It can be. It definitely can be. Just keep in mind that when it comes to reaction videos, they can be extremely effective. Like if you look at Roger Wakefield, who hangs out here from time to time, like his channel's just blown up because of reaction videos. I think he's over like 400. I'm actually going to look because I mean, he's crushing it so hard. And I'm just curious exactly where he's at right now. Roger Wakefield. Yeah, he's at 421,000 subscribers now on his YouTube channel. So basically he was doing, just general, like plumbing information. And then he started doing reaction to plumbing situations and just shot through the moon. So, reactions can be very advantageous. Legal Eagle is another one that does that type of thing, but he just does it, catered towards the law community, people that are into that. But basically, reactions can be a great avenue. But one thing I just want to caution you on is that if you are using reactions as your main type of content, typically those fall under fair use. But one thing that you want to make sure that you are doing is that you are making sure that you are building in the process of disputing copyright claims and things like that, because you're going to get that on a regular basis. And when you do, don't sweat. If it's a claim, not a big deal. They're just taking your ad revenue. But when you put that dispute in, then, it kind of goes into kind of like an escrow of sorts until you get that dispute resolved. So because of that, just make sure that you work that into what it is that you're doing. Invisible America TV says, why is it so easy when you explain it, but it's hard when you implement it? It's hard. Like when it comes to doing all of this stuff, right? We won't even say all of this stuff. When it comes to doing anything at a higher level and getting, like good results from anything, it's hard. Everything is. So, you know, like there's hardly anything that you can do besides like walking down the street and being a good walker that's like really easy to do that you would excel at, right? So like, for example, like if you want to be like, you can be a musician and you can like, yeah, I can play some instruments. I can do some stuff. I can put together some stuff that's good. But like, are you so good that when people hear your stuff, they're like, wow, this is incredible. And they're trying to like share you with people and all of that, right? And like when it comes to even stuff like, you know, making videos and photography and like all of that stuff, you know, it's like, you know, in order to be really good at it, you have to put in a lot of time learning your camera, taking tons of videos, you know, taking tons of photos, just like learning how to do it all. If you're, you know, playing sports, same exact thing. It's hard to be a really good sports person or athlete. I think, yeah, athlete's what we're looking for there. But it's hard to be a good athlete. It's hard to be a good YouTuber, especially like if you want to make a video or a handful of videos and you have like a video pop, right? Like that. And it's like, okay, yeah, you know, sure. You got, you know, 1 million views on a video, right? Okay. There's tons of people on YouTube that have a video they've gotten 1 million views on, right? But the hard part is like, how can I consistently get a decent amount of views on a regular basis for the next like 5 years? That's where it gets hard, right? So like all of this stuff, like, you know, like when you're going through the process, like it's easy to explain because like all the conceptual stuff is easy. And, you know, like it's easy to be like, okay, this is all you need to do. But then when you're sitting there in front of your computer and you're making a thumbnail, it's like, okay, these are all the things I need to do. One, did I take notes and do I have that next to me while I'm making my thumbnail so I can make sure I'm doing these things? But then you have to sit there and you actually have to do the practical side, which is, okay, I got to find an image that best represents what it is that I'm doing, that helps the viewer understand what it is that I'm doing. Just that by itself is hard, right? Finding that like good image to where you're like, yeah, they'll definitely click on this. And then when you take that image, then you got to think, okay, is there something else that I can do to this image to really draw attention or really put a strong emphasis on this thing that I'm trying to bring attention to on this emphasis in this thumbnail? And then that takes it to like another level of hard, right? And then once you go through all that process and you're like, hey, do I put words on this, not put words on this? You're like going through all of that entire thing, you know, it's tough. And then when it comes to the video content, that's hard. That's why there's a lot more people that quit YouTube than there are people that make it as a, you know, successful YouTube content creator for a long period of time. So, you know, because of that, you know, like it's hard. Anything, if you do it at a high level, it's hard. That's why, you know, there's so many people that don't do anything, right? There's so many people that don't do much with, you know, in terms of, you know, getting outside of their comfort zone and things like that, just because it starts getting hard as soon as you start, like, you know, we all live in these bubbles of the things that we can do. But then as soon as you start pushing on that bubble and you're like, hey, I want to start developing this new skill, then right there, it's like, oh, this is starting to get hard, right? This is starting to get hard now because now I have to like learn a whole new thing. I got to learn a whole new software. I got to learn all these different, you know, concepts that go along with like color and like fonts and, you know, different fonts that work together and like all these different things. Like I got to learn all that stuff and it gets hard. So, you know, like when you look at YouTube and if you're somebody that's like, yeah, this stuff is hard, like don't beat yourself up about it because it is hard. Like, you know, I've been doing this since 2014, 7 years now. I've been doing this since 2014. It's hard. It's definitely hard. And it doesn't like, it gets easier in terms of, like it gets easier in terms of, you know, like, okay, it's comfortably built into my lifestyle now. Like I know, you know, what makes a good video across a bunch of different niches, you know, all that good stuff. And like, it's still hard though, because it's like, you know, there's always new people coming on the platform. All the people who make content like me, like they're all, you know, we're all competing for the same topics and all that stuff. So it's like, it's still hard, right? Because you still have to make sure that you're showing up. You still got to make sure that you're doing the thing and that you're doing the thing in a way that people continue to respond to. And all of us, like we have to continue doing that with every video that we publish if we want to maintain ourselves as a you know, professional YouTube content creator, or at least somebody that, you know, is doing this seriously as a hobby, or, you know, somebody that is going to have a long-term sustainable YouTube channel that they are going to be able to leverage for something in their lives. So my thoughts on that. Pardon the rant. Oh, it's kind of went a little further on that one than I expected. Okay, so let's grab another one here. Are branded titles still relevant? What about putting one in after a hook? By branded titles, what do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you mean branded titles in terms of, yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by branded titles. So here I've gotten around. So here, how to get more live viewers for lives that are pulling hundreds of views every live from new YouTubers, but mine is only pulling a dozen. Thumbnails are better. So first off, you can't assume that your thumbnails are better unless you have access to other people's other people's analytics, because what something looks like doesn't necessarily equal how effective it is. So there's tons of pretty thumbnails on YouTube that people just don't click on. They look great. They're works of art. People spent, hours on them trying to make them pop and trying to make them look good and all of that. And they do all of the things in terms of it being a good looking thumbnail, but it's not effective in some cases. So because of that, when you're looking at other people's thumbnails, you can't say, unless you have access to their data, you can't say my thumbnail is better than your thumbnail unless you have access to the data, because just by looking at it, by default, you come into that situation with bias. But in addition to that, when you're looking at theirs, if you don't have access, then you don't know how other people are responding to that thumbnail. You only know how you would respond to it, which only works for you. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work at scale. Excuse me. Let's see here. So I've gotten, in terms of getting more live viewers, so I've actually got a nice handful of videos that I recommend. So StreamYard, who's a sponsor of this stream, I also make videos on their YouTube channel, and I do live streams on their channel. So I really recommend that you go to the StreamYard YouTube channel and you go into my playlist over there that I've made specifically for live streamers and live streaming as it relates to YouTube. So, other people over there making content about like Facebook and LinkedIn and all that stuff. My entire content set over there is all about YouTube, my live streams, videos, and all of that. So, so make sure that you check that out if you're trying to get more live viewers. I've gotten around 100 subscribers in the past month. Do you have any tips on how to speed it up? Pay attention, learn what it is that is causing people to subscribe. Pay attention to the videos that you publish that people respond to, and the videos that you publish that people don't respond to. And of course, make more of the ones that people do respond to and less of the ones that people don't. And also make sure that you're paying really close attention to how people are responding to the video content in your YouTube analytics. In your audience retention reports specifically. If you don't know what your audience retention reports are, they are a second-by-second report that that YouTube gives us on every single video that we publish. So so go in there, get real familiar with those, because those are a direct reflection of how people are responding to the videos that you're publishing. In addition to that, make sure that you're paying really close attention to how much people are clicking on what it is that you're doing as well, because the way that you get more subscribers is to get more activity on what it is that you're doing, more views, more people interacting with what your content, and then those people seeing the value in what it is that you're publishing. I'm gonna stand up here so that people see the value. So people see the value in what it is that you're publishing, and then they will, they'll subscribe from that. Of course, there's little things that you can do. There's little things you can do in terms of, trying to, convert people to higher rate and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to pay really close attention to the content you're making, because, every little nudge that you can give somebody to subscribe, it's all great. But at the end of the day, I'm like, am I wearing pants? I had to check really quick. I'm like, do I have pants on? Yeah, okay, I do. So we're good here. But anyway, you got to make sure that what you're, you got to make sure that the content that you're putting out is content that resonates with people. If it is, then people will subscribe, and that's where you start. Like once you start getting that initial activity of people coming in and enjoying the content, that is where you can start playing around with, or that's where it's best to start playing around with, like different calls to action, and where it is you're asking people to subscribe, and video graphics reminding people to subscribe and stuff like that. So let's see here. So the next question that we have on our list here is from, okay. So Business Growth Ready, hey, what's going on? Hope you're doing awesome. Says, since you have a much larger analytic data source on your channel, can you tell how many vertical, mobile versus landscape viewers you get? So in my YouTube channel, I just have the one short that I put up on my personal YouTube channel. On the channel you're watching right now, I just have the one short that I put up. Ask me that question again in about 3 months, and I'll be able to let you know in terms of the vertical content. Let's see here. So what's the difference between a brand and a channel? I started a channel about pets. I want to do something that's totally different. Should I make a different channel? Okay. So the difference between a brand and a channel is when you start a channel on YouTube, anybody can start a channel on YouTube and they can upload whatever it is that they upload as long as whatever it is they want, as long as it's within the YouTube, community guidelines, as long as you're not violating anything. So because of that, they can just start a channel and they don't have to really do anything except upload to that YouTube channel. The difference when it comes to a brand is you're actually being intentional about what you're building. And by being intentional about what you're building, what I mean is when you are starting the whole thing, you're starting with a name for your brand, right? So basically you're starting a company essentially, and you're starting with a name for your brand. And you think of that from the perspective of, is this going to be easy for people to remember? If somebody's like, hey, I want to tell somebody about this YouTube channel, is it easy for them to tell people about what it is, to tell them, hey, go look at this brand name on YouTube, right? But basically when it comes to the brand, in a lot of cases, a company will come as a part of that. You'll set up an LLC or something, for the company, and then you'll get the website name, like the whatever your brand name is .com. You'll want to make sure that's available before you commit to it. Of course, you'll have the YouTube channel around it. You'll have the Twitter account for it. You might even get the TikTok or wherever and upload content there. But when it comes to the brand, you're building a brand online, and that brand is the entity of sorts. And then you're using all of this different content to actually build the brand across multiple platforms, right? So essentially all roads lead to Rome. Typically when people are doing brands on YouTube, they're doing it as like a mega entertainment brand, or they're doing it as a, like, hey, I'm selling some stuff or whatever. So I'm going to, make a brand, or not a brand account, but like I'm going to, build this internet brand so that I can bring attention to all the different stuff that I sell or the services that I have and things like that. So, so that's the difference between just having a YouTube channel and a brand. The brand is more of a professional approach to your YouTube channel. But you don't have to have, you don't have to build a brand to be a content creator. I mean, you're going to anyway. let me take that back. You're going to, like, if you have a successful YouTube channel, then you are going to have that brand. It's just going to be your personal brand. If it's your name or whatever your YouTube channel name it is, you're building a brand if you like it or not. But how intentional you're being about building that brand is going to be the difference on how that side, on how the side of brand building goes. Let's see here. So yes, I saw this one earlier and I'm not sure what that means. So here, good guy Ahmed says, please answer. I have school now, so how can I interact with viewers without me uploading videos because I'm busy at school? And also, how should I keep my subs not losing? So first off, it's important to know that, not everybody has all the time in the world. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Some people are too busy to do YouTube. Some people, just have too much going on and they just don't have time to do YouTube, and that's perfectly fine. So if you're busy with school, don't sweat it. Like, just do YouTube when you can. And, if you have the extra time that you can put into it, then do it when you can. And when you don't have the time, then don't do it, but don't worry about it. Like, like right now you're in school and you're trying to be a content creator as well. And both of those things require a lot of time. So what you want to do is, of course, you want to make sure that you're prioritizing your school stuff because, if not, you'll get in trouble and, all that stuff with your parents. And then of course, when it comes to the content creator side, just try to work it in when you can and make sure that you set very clear goals for what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and that you just, put the time into it as you can, because that's the best that you can do right now is just finding that time. But another thing that you want to do when possible, and I know you're in school, and if you're, young like that, then, the time that you have and when you have time, it's going to be morphing all of the time. So like your schedule probably isn't as rigid as, my schedule's not that rigid either, but like your schedule probably isn't as rigid as somebody who has a rigid schedule. So because of that, it's not as easy for you to say, okay, every Monday, from this time to this time, I'm going to work on video ideas and, researching those video ideas and proving that those, are things that people would be interested in. And then on Tuesday, from this time to this time, I'm going to do some keyword research, things like that. From this time to this time, I'm going to spend that on Wednesday. I'm going to spend that for educational time. Thursday, this time to this time, I'm going to be making a video. And on Friday, I'm going to edit it. Saturday, I'm going to publish it, type of thing. You can't do that as easily. So just do what you can right now. And just a heads up. So, you're in school right now. So just a little life pro tip, part of, like one of the things that one of the skills you're going to have as an adult is time management. So, you know, the fact that you're already like, hey, I'm in school. Do you have any tips for, you know, how I can, you know, get content out? Like the fact that you're already seeing that as a problem and you're already trying to solve it is really great. So, you know, just keep that type of mindset and also try to solve that problem. Try to figure out like, okay, do I have to wake up 30 minutes early in the morning every day? Of course, make sure that you're getting your sleep because it's super important for your school. But like, do I have to wake up, you know, 30 minutes early every day or go to sleep 30 minutes early every night so that I can do that every day, you know, when I'm fresh in the morning and just work on a little bit of a video, you know, a little bit of a time, you know, every single day so that by the end of the week I have one, you know, that type of stuff in order to, you know, try to make sure that you're getting it done. Okay, so next up on our list here, I've gotten around 100 subscribers in the past month. Okay, we did that one already too. Let's see here. So how to find a good balance between life and YouTube so I don't get super exhausted by 8 p.m. Drink a lot of water. And make sure that you're eating as good as you can within reason, of course, because you got to make sure you're enjoying yourself too, in my opinion. But, you know, drink a lot of water, try to exercise, try to get a lot of, you know, sunlight, that kind of stuff, so that you can make sure that, you know, that you are doing all those things to make sure that you're staying healthy so that you can operate, you know, as efficiently as possible. Because, you know, when it comes to work-life balance, the things that are the most important are the things that always get done. The things that are the least important are the things that always get put off and all of that. So, of course, when it comes to, you know, balancing your life and YouTube, the things that are most important, of course, is like your family and your job and, you know, things like that. So because of that, you have to make sure that you're prioritizing those things. And then you make sure that you're scheduling in the time to do the other things that are not as much of a priority so that you can make sure those get done too. So if you're like really wanting to like, you know, go for it on YouTube, then just start scheduling in time to do everything. Just like you schedule the time to go to a doctor. If you make that appointment, you're going to go to the doctor. If you have, you know, an appointment to go to the dentist, you're going to go there. If you have an appointment to go get a massage somewhere, you're going to go there. So you want to make sure that you just work all of that stuff into a schedule so that you can make sure that you're giving yourself the time to do what it is that you need to do. All right. So I'm going to hop back over on the other mic here. Un momento, por favor. Okay, so let's see here. So that has us there. Back's feeling a lot better, by the way. For those of you that know that I have a back problem, so it's feeling a lot better. It got really, really bad earlier in this week. But it's feeling like really good now. I just had like a little bit of a catch. That's why I had to stand up and kind of walk around a little bit. So let's see here. So Gamers Effects, thank you for the super chat. Says thank you for all your great tips from your previous videos and live streams. My channel has over 2,000 views and almost 80 hours since December of 2021. Congratulations to you on that. Nice work. So let's see here, as we keep on going down this list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop back into the forum here really quick, and then I'm going to answer a question here, and then we'll hop back into the chat. And hey, just as a heads up, just because, you know, we're approaching the mark here coming up soon. So there are 2 awesome live streams happening today. So right after this stream, you're going to have my brother and Daniel Batal doing the channel reviews. Like if you're just getting started, like if you're just getting new to YouTube, then that's probably the one you want to go to. If you're more, you know, if you're like, okay, you know, we've got the ball rolling, now we're wanting some more advanced stuff. Daryl Eves is doing a live stream as well. I think he starts his, I believe, around like 12:30, and I think the StreamYard one is right around 12. I'm actually going to look really quick just to confirm. But both of those streams are going to be great. So you definitely want to show up for them. Yeah, 12:30 a.m. My time, which is 12:30 Eastern, is Daryl's live stream that you definitely want to make sure that you attend. And then we have pulling up the StreamYard one here right now as well. Give me 1 second. And the StreamYard one is at 12:10. So basically after this stream, if you want to hop over to the StreamYard stream for a little bit, and then once Daryl starts, for those of you that are not waiting for a channel review, then of course, you know, you can hop over there and check out his stream as well. His whole thing during this one is similar to his last one that he did about unsticking a channel. So basically, if you've hit a plateau and you just can't get past it, then you definitely want to make sure that you're hanging out in that stream. So next up, I'm going to hop into the form for this one, and then we're going to come back. But really quick, first, I'm going to go ahead and answer this this question that came in. Let me scroll this down to the bottom here. Let me just refresh this here because I want to pin this on the screen. Oh, we got two more. Okay, first, Satanic says, hey, Nick, you live in Thailand, right? Did you move for business reason? If so, what are those? No, I actually came here to vacation. I came over to visit my brother because he was staying over here at the time. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. Love the lifestyle. But with the way that I was doing things at that point in time, I wasn't working online. So I wasn't able to, kind of tap into this lifestyle. And he was like, hey, I'll mentor you, if you want to do that. And so I was like, okay, sure. Totally down for that. And then basically we went through that process. And then, I ended up coming over here and staying over here. When I first came over, I was actually sleeping on his floor. And then basically, just as things progressed, now it's been like quite some time. I think we're rolling up on like 15 years or something like that. So yeah, we've been over here for quite some time. Let's see here. And then the next one that I was going to grab is, it looks like D's actually in here right now. He says, great. Sweet. So let's see here. What's up, D? Hope you're doing awesome, man. Jay Allen says, I've heard using a short intro isn't good to do anymore. I've been putting a hook, but should I just ditch intros altogether? If you mean an intro in terms of like flashing your logo, it's like a little sequence as your video starts. What you want to do to make that decision is you want to go into your audience retention reports on your videos and just look for the drop. So in some cases, an intro will be good and people will stick around. They'll get like a 0% loss because it'll be super fast and then they get right into the content before people even have a chance to realize what happened. So if you have one of those types of intros, then you're good to go. But you want to use your audience retention reports to give you that answer. So if you go into your audience retention reports and you're losing like 1% or 2% of the people that are going through that video, and you see that, on all the videos that you're publishing or more, then what you want to do is you want to just consider, okay, if I lose 1% of the people on this video or 2% of the people on this video, for this video, it might not seem like a lot of people unless it's just got crushed with views. However, over the course of building an entire content library over the next handful of years, that's going to add up to a substantial amount of people. And because of that, if you do notice that dip, that's where you want to consider, possibly removing your intro. And I'm going down to Demon's Row. I'm looking for you, man. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to put that one up here on the screen as well. Let's see here. So we got Gamers Effects already. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so Demon's Row says, really need your advice. I have a thumbnail style that no ad. There's now a couple of channels using my style and even my pictures. What do you advise? I have way more subs than them, but it's been bothering me. Welcome to the club. So the thing is people can duplicate your style all day long. And that's an unfortunate side of YouTube is, when you come in with something that stands out, people copy it. Because they notice it works, right? You're like, yeah, my channel's way bigger than theirs. Like they notice it works. That's why they're copying it. So if they're using your pictures and they're your original photos, they're not photos that you've gotten from somewhere else, but they're your photos, you can issue a copyright takedown on those thumbnails. So as part of the DMCA takedown options inside of YouTube, when you go to submit a DMCA notice for a video, you have the option to put that claim or to put the DMCA on the thumbnail or to put it on the video. So in your case, if they're taking your actual image and they're using it and they're not remixing it or anything, it's clearly like your image. Then in that case, you can issue a takedown on the thumbnail. But for people copying your style, just get used to that because that's part of the gig. Like people. There's even people in this chat. I don't know if some of them are still here or not. But there's even people that hang out here that also copy my thumbnail style. People are definitely going to copy your stuff. So just get used to it. So you say here that you've done takedowns and YouTube has done nothing, and they even used footage of you. Yeah, so in that case, if they're doing like reactions and things like that and it falls under fair use, then your hands are tied there as well. But if you can, like if you're like, hey, this is really bothering me and they're like using this in ways that they shouldn't be, in that case, I would just keep going after them and just wait for those moments to where, you know, they're clearly using it in a way to where they just can't defend it as fair use. And then when you find those opportunities, have your lawyer, you know, get a lawyer and actually have them submit it. And then they'll probably end up taking it down. But you know, one of the awesome things about YouTube, like one of the bad things is that everybody can copy everybody. Like there's also, you know, cases where people will go in, and this is nuts, but people do it. They'll go in and they'll take like transcripts, and then they'll just use that as a script, and they'll literally make the same video word for word. So like that's a problem too. But people will copy your thumbnails. People will steal your thumbnails. They'll use them on YouTube. They'll use them on Fiverr. That happens to me all the time. They'll use them, you know, in other places. People will, you know, like react to your videos. People are going to do all those things, but it's part of the gig. The awesome thing about YouTube though, is that people can copy your thumbnail style. They can copy your editing style. They can copy, you know, they can copy your entire script. They can try to make the same video as you're making, but they can't do you, right? So like the thing that's going to always help you win in that situation is that you are the person that's innovating. You're the person that's doing the thing that everybody else is copying. So you're way up here. And they're back here. They're just trying to figure out what to do. That's why they're copying all your stuff. And because of that, like, you know, they're not innovating. They're not trying to do anything new. They're just copying what you're doing while you're still just, you know, just going by leaps and bounds because you're up there on the front innovating all of the stuff that they're going to end up copying, right? So just kind of own that position. That's what I do, is I just kind of own that position. I'm like, well, you know, it's part of the gig. You know, like if you're going to be a leader in a space, then, you know, people are going to come in and they're going to try to, you know, do what it is that you do. But the best thing that you can do is just keep doing you, because by the time people get to what it is that you're doing or what they perceive you as doing, like you're way past that thing that they're copying. So I would just try to embrace that side of it. But yeah, it can be frustrating though. It can definitely be frustrating. So let's see here. So Doug says, D and Daniel, just shut up and start the show. Yep. Is that their tagline? Is that what they say when it first starts? Usually I'm closing this one down when theirs starts, so I never catch the very beginning of them. Let's see here. So let me scroll down. Yeah, there he is. What's up, bro? Hope you're doing awesome, my man. Let's see. I'm just going to hop down to the bottom of the comments here, and then we're going to scroll up from here because there's a couple more. So real quick, Trouble Woe says, hey, Nick, the market for a game I uploaded diminished in views tremendously, and now I feel stuck. With near 5,000 subscribers, I want to transition somewhere else, but I feel like they watched me for that game. So here's the thing, when it comes to content on YouTube, is there are some people that watched you for that game, but there's also some people that came in and they watched you doing that game. So, you know, when it comes to games on YouTube or just a niche on YouTube in general, there's like a lot of people making that type of content, but people are choosing to spend their time with you instead of the other people that are making that content, or at least along with those other people that are making that content, then like you're doing the right thing. You got people that are coming there for you too. So because of that, if you're wanting to make that transition, I would just embrace it and I would go for it. But what I would do though, is if you're wanting to give yourself that best possible chance for that transition that you're going to make, of course you want to make sure that you're doing the things that you enjoy and all of that, but I would definitely go to trends.google.com and I would start putting in all the different games and start seeing like what's on the rise, what's on the decline, so that the next thing that you move into, it's not something that you're catching on the tail end while it's on its way down. It's something that you're actually riding, you know, as it's rising instead of riding it on the way down, so that you can actually, you know, take advantage of the popularity of that game. So then as it does start to go down, then of course you can use that as an opportunity to hop onto something else as well. Mind Lab Matt says, how can anyone, unless they have the looks of a god or goddess, possibly find a niche, plus even have a chance of getting 4,000 hours? Oh, this is great. So first off, of course, you know, looks can be advantageous, but looks do not guarantee success in any way, shape, or form. So, you know, some people are good to look at, but they're annoying to listen to. Some people are good to look at, but they are, you know, they come across in a way that is agitating, right? Some people, you know, look good, but they don't know how to put videos together. They don't know how to get people to click, right? So in terms of, you know, having to look like a god or a goddess, that's definitely not a requirement for YouTube. So when you look at a lot of the popular channels on YouTube, you of course are going to run into some of those, right? Where it's like, yeah, this is an attractive person, but they also have talent. That's why they're, that's why their channel's, doing well, and it continues to do well over time. But you're also going to find some people that, they don't have that advantage of attractiveness, and they're still crushing too. So, because of that, like, don't even sweat that side of things, and don't, like, when you look at social media and you think of it from the perspective of you have to be attractive for this to work, the limitation that you're creating for yourself is massive. So there's no wall in front of you. That's the beauty of YouTube specifically, is there's no wall in front of you. But when you start looking at things like that and you're like, okay, how in the world am I going to get 4,000 hours of watch time? It seems impossible. I'm not even going to be able to do this if I'm not, like a model or something. Then what you just did is you just built that wall in front of yourself, right? So there's not a wall, but you put one there. So you made that wall that you're going to have to get through. So the thing with YouTube is it's not about your attractiveness. I mean, you don't even have to put yourself on camera. Like, there's tons of channels on YouTube that just do awesome, and they don't even have like a face on camera. So in terms of, getting the 4,000 hours of watch time, that comes down to people enjoying the content, and, coming back, watching more, all that good stuff, and you making content decisions. But on the attractiveness side, like, everything that you do in life, and this is like a little bit outside of, like, I don't really want to walk down this road, but everything that you do in life, you are responsible. Almost everything that you do in life, like, you're at the, like, it all comes down to you, right? So, like, for example, if I'm not going to give an example, but there's a book that I want you to read called Extreme Ownership. And basically the idea in this book is that everything, essentially comes back to you. Even if somebody else makes a mistake, your interactions that, could have led into that mistake comes back down to you. Something that you could have done to prevent them from making that mistake can come back to you. So when you're putting these walls in front of yourself, like, hey, it's impossible, or, how can I have a chance of getting 4,000 hours of watch time? Like, you have to look at that in yourself and be like, you know what? If I am or if I am not the most attractive person in the world, then what angle do I need to take in order to get into this? So what you do there is you take the responsibility for it, and instead of creating obstacles for yourself, you start asking different questions that start leading to solutions. So instead, and you ask this question, which is good, because you're like, how can somebody do this? And, how do you get 4,000 hours of watch time? So, you start asking those questions of like, okay, if I don't have some of those advantages, then, what can I do with my content, or what can I do in order to, get that 4,000 hours, in order to, have a channel that does well on YouTube? Well, what you do is you find a way to make content. If you're like, hey, I don't want to be on camera because I'm, I don't like how I look or whatever, then in that case, you have to find another type of content that you can make where you don't need to be on camera, right? There's one solution. And then from there, you have to just make sure that you're delivering a lot of value, that you're taking responsibility for how people respond to your content. So what you have to do there is, if you're not on camera, then let's say you're doing screen tutorials, or let's say you're doing animations, or you're doing stuff where you're just showing like a point of view. You got a GoPro on your head and you're just showing like your hands doing stuff or whatever. Then in that case, that's where you have to take responsibility of how people are responding to your videos. And you have to go in and you have to be like, okay, this is how people are responding to this, GoPro head video that I'm doing. What can I do to make these better for the viewers? And when you start asking those questions of how can I get over this obstacle? What way can I do this? How can I, make this better? When you start asking all those types of questions, then those walls start, the bricks start falling off of the wall, right? And you start finding little holes and little ways that you can get through and make things happen. So, so when it comes to, being attractive, you don't have to be attractive. It's helpful if that's part of your package, but it's definitely not a requirement for YouTube. I mean, my brother D is on YouTube. Sorry, D. Had to throw somebody on the bus, and you were like hanging out here, so I was like, hey, let's just make it D. Throw D in there. Just giving you a hard time because people say we look alike, so so I can give him that hard time because it's like making a stab at myself too, kind of. Okay, so let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list here, I'm just going to jump down here to the bottom. Let me refresh my mission control here, and make sure I got everybody taken care of on this side. And then we're going to hop back into the forum, and then we're going to hop back over here and start answering some questions there. Okay, got that one taken care of. That one taken care of. Got that one covered. Got that one covered too. Great tips from previous streams, live streams 2000. Copying that and Mind Lab. And okay, so Brongel Peace Lounge
Super
says, hey Nick, the meditative and relaxation niche is becoming saturated. Any recommendation for content creators who want to grow while giving back? So first off, the reason that it's becoming saturated is because there's tons of these YouTube content creators that are misleading people into D says at least the bottom of the bust looks clean. Love it. But when it comes to like the meditation and relaxing niche, how it's becoming saturated, it's because there's tons of these content creators out there that are making videos about, hey, make $1 million on YouTube without making any videos. And then what they'll tell you to do is, hey, you know, they'll give you something where they'll go to Social Blade, and then they'll use a channel that has like 8 million subscribers on it. And then they'll be like, hey, if you look, this channel right here is making, you know, about like $100,000 a month by just uploading, you know, these meditation videos. And then they tell you to go to like a stock website and download all your clips over there, add some music to it and upload it to YouTube. And like, you're going to get the same results like tomorrow, right? That's how they sell the whole thing. That's why that space is getting just completely polluted right now. And a lot of it is just getting polluted with garbage. So it's unfortunate because, you know, the people that are in that space that are making good stuff like you, I'm assuming, you know, the people in that space that are making good stuff, they're having to, you know, get their space polluted like that. And it's just unfortunate. And unfortunately, those people are polluting my space too, because, you know, those people are coming in here and they're just giving horrible information to content creators. And it's all stuff that's getting them views, but it's not stuff that actually works out the way that they're saying that it's going to work out, which is unfortunate. But anyway, when it comes to, yeah, and here's Dee's tip for growing a music channel too. But the thing is when it comes to, you know, standing out in a saturated niche, the whole thing is of course, you know, if you're on camera, that is the one thing that immediately separates you from everybody else. Because, you know, if you are competing with other people that are on camera, that separates you, you know, competing with those people instead of competing with everybody that's uploading that garbage content that I'm talking about. And I'm not saying that type of content is garbage content because it can be done well also, but people are trying to, you know, just kind of throw stuff together and just put in as little effort as possible. That's what's going on. But anyway, the thing that you want to do is, of course, if possible, be on camera, and your personality will be the thing that will help you stand out. And then from there, also, a lot of people are targeting YouTube search because that's what those people are telling other people to do. Is they're like, hey, you know, and then you know, target search with this, and then people find it in search, and they'll start coming into your channel. So you can target search, but also try to think like, okay, somebody that's into meditation, somebody that's needing relaxation right now. How can I package my content in a way that's going to resonate with that person that just needs a break? That person that's like, oh my gosh, if I could just have like 10 minutes just to like clear my thoughts and think. But instead, they're on YouTube because our brains are not our friends. So they're on YouTube. The brain is like, hey, let's go on YouTube, right? And the brain is on YouTube and it's sitting there, you know, just kind of scrolling through stuff. But you know, ultimately, you know, what you want to make sure that you're thinking of is that person to where they're wanting that break, but they're on YouTube, even though they know they shouldn't be, you know, watching content instead. Like, how are you going to get that person to click on your content from their homepage? That's what you got to think, because then once they click on that content from your homepage, in terms of like, you know, what are you going to do in your thumbnail? What are you going to do in the title? So just putting, you know, relaxing meditation, not enough. If it's like, you know, hey, you know, take a 10-minute break, use this video to get 10 minutes with yourself, you know, whatever. You'd have to do some research in terms of how to be compelling with that. But the idea is just try to think of those people that are needing that content or wanting that content. How can you scrape them off of homepages? That's what you're ultimately trying to accomplish. And just a quick reminder, the StreamYard stream here is starting in about 15 minutes. Where they're going to be doing free channel reviews. So if you want somebody to give you feedback on your YouTube channel, they're going to be doing that here in 15 minutes over on StreamYard. So make sure that you are heading over to the StreamYard channel. You at least have it open in another browser, or you're at least ready to go over there here shortly, because they're going to be starting that in 15 minutes. And Daryl's is starting in about 35 minutes for those of you that are going to be going over to his as well. Owen Video in the house. What's up, my man? Hope that you're doing awesome. So let's see here. So Owen says tips for meditation channels. Hold on. Where is that? See if I can pin this to the screen here, my man. hey, look, this guy. So I know that there's really quick. I know that there's like some real estate agents in here that have, popped up. I know that there's some real estate agents that hang out here on a regular basis as well. And some other, that type of industry stuff, mortgage brokers, things like that. This guy, I know I recommend him from time. Owen, I recommend you from time to time here in the streams for, those people that have, that job. But he, like his expertise is helping like accountants and real estate agents, mortgage brokers, people that have that type of industry jobs. His expertise is helping them leverage YouTube to generate business. So if you are, one of those, if you do work in that industry, you definitely want to follow Owen Video, who's pinned to the screen right now. Of course, you can go on YouTube and you can look for him also by the same name, but you definitely want to work with him. But anyway, he says tips for meditation channel, use terms like de-stress or quick or morning or lunchtime, etc. Different modifiers for different times or different ailments. I don't always need a 2-hour piece. Totally. Thank you for that, Owen. So let's see here. So as we keep on going, we got J-Rock Gaming. J-Rock Gaming says, my shorts are better than ever, more value, better production, but they're getting far less views now. How the shorts has the shorts algorithm changed? So it's not necessarily that it's changed, but every single day it's just getting more and more content into it. So because of that, like as more people keep loading more content in the short shelf, then you start getting more and more competition, and that competition starts getting more fierce because people are putting better and better content there. So because of that, as time progresses, it will end up being more and more difficult to get a lot of activity on shorts. That's why those of you that are, like leveraging shorts in a serious way, like you're really getting ahead of the curve there, because you're going to have tons of them out there that you're going to be able to have, as part of your library, which is great. To where people that are going to start using shorts like next year, they're going to be way behind. They're going to be way behind on that. A video hook. So this is a great question. So what is a video hook? So a video hook is essentially where when somebody comes into your YouTube video, you think of it like a fisherman, right? A fisherman throws a hook in the water and they grab a fish, right? So the idea is a hook is you're hooking the viewer just like a fisherman hooks a fish. And you do that by mentioning in the beginning of the video things that you're going to be sharing with them or why your video would be important to them. It's not, a hook is not, make sure you watch to the end of this video. That's not a hook. A hook is, I'm going to show you how to do this so that you can get this specific result. Or in this video, I'm trying to, while we're playing this game, today in this game, I'm going to try to get all the, I'm going to try to win a Fortnite Battle Royale without using any weapons, right? So that's a hook, because in that situation, anybody that plays Fortnite Battle Royale, they know how difficult that would be. So then they want to sit there and watch the video, or at least kind of skip through it and see the progress and then get to the end so they can see if they're able to accomplish that or not. But what it is that you want to do, or what a hook is it's basically your way of capturing the viewer's attention and telling them information that's important to them in terms of what would cause them to want to watch the video. Now, other things that you can do when it comes to a hook is, let's say that you have like a prank channel. Then in that case, you can show like a build up to a prank where people are like, oh, this is going to be good. And then you cut it off, and then you get into the actual video, and then they have to watch the video in order to get to, the actual, money moment, so to speak. And then let's say if it's like a cooking channel, then in that case, just letting people know, hey, I'm going to show you how to do this, and we're doing it with, less calories, and it doesn't take this much time and all that. Basically, what you want to think of when it comes to your hook is that's your moment to sell the viewer on what it is that they should be watching the video for. So if you're doing, content where you're talking to people like I am, then in that case, you can just tell them. If you're doing, and this applies to, if you're making gaming videos, whatever, where you're talking to your audience, then you can just tell them. If you're doing like vlogging content, you can tell them there too. Hey, we're going to go do this. It's supposed to be like this. Who knows what we're going to get into, because we always have problems when we go do these things. So we're going to see what happens, blah, blah, blah. Like that's how you would do that as a vlogger. And if you're doing something to where, you're not on camera at all, then in that case, that's where you have to start thinking like, okay, how can I inform the viewer as part of the hook to where, I'm using that as a way to inform them to keep them watching there. But basically, in a nutshell, the hook is where you're grabbing the viewer's attention at the beginning of your video, and you are creating the environment for them or giving them the information they need to want to continue watching the video. Slit Speed, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. He says, I'm so good, bro. Good. You are. Let's see here. I'm at a start point where growth is starting to slow down. Do you have any advice for what I may be able to do? I tried different ideas, videos, but it doesn't seem to impact much. So if you're coming to like a complete halt, then in that case, you might want to start, working on like skill sets in terms of, learning how to make better thumbnails, reading some articles or, listening to some podcasts or watching some YouTube videos on copywriting, getting into the psychology behind copywriting, that kind of thing. So you can write better titles to get people to click, things like that. Starting to work on the actual skill development that'll take you past that threshold is one approach, but it could also just be, the answer to your question could be within your YouTube analytics as well, in terms of just going in and figuring out, hey, this is, the content that's bringing people in. This is the content people are responding to. This is the content they're not. And just going in and really going a deep dive in your analytics to figure out, what's working, what doesn't work, what gets the highest response from where in terms of, where you're bringing the views in from and all of that. Those are the different things that you do. And in some case, it could just be, a change in understanding of, who it is that you're reaching or the approach that you're taking to what it is that you're doing. So let's see here as we keep on going down this list here. Let's go for this one. I'm okay, we did that one already. Looking for those cues. Let's look here. We've got, hey, David Matney. Okay, so David. Yeah, so, so you've already been over there with Owen. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so, okay, yeah, great. Good. Let's see here. Why are my views decreasing? It would be because either you have videos that were doing well and then they are no longer doing well. That can happen because, let's say that you're getting your videos from, YouTube is suggesting your videos next to a handful of like strong videos. They're getting a lot of views, and then all of a sudden they stop getting a lot of views because of what they were connected to. And then that kind of ripples down into yours. That can happen. It can happen to where if you start being inconsistent to where all of a sudden you stop getting less views in suggested, or you stop getting less search views, and that starts dropping because of your inconsistency. In terms of just, you don't publish for a while, things like that. It can also be that where, you're making a bunch of different types of content that isn't really targeting anybody. And because of that, there's no like real core, synchronized topic across your YouTube channel, to where, when you publish one video, it only resonates with like a certain group of people, where you publish another one and then it only resonates with like another group of people, but there's no like real cohesive value that you're offering, that kind of stuff. But all of those things matter. But really what you need to do if you do find your views decreasing is you can go into your YouTube analytics, you can go to your traffic sources, and you can actually look, you'll see the bars going across or the lines going across. And you can sort by the date range there, and you can actually look for little drops in, traffic, like, hey, here's the line that is my suggested traffic. So do I have any, drops in there, or my homepage traffic or whatever? And then once you identify, where you've lost the traffic from, then you can start, taking an approach to try to get more videos in those places. So, all right. So let's see here. So we've got 8 minutes. So here's actually, let me answer this question here really quick.
Super chat.
And then we'll move on. So Sportsbook Buddy says, new job as a video creator for a betting app. YouTube numbers decent, but a few podcasters are posting videos that perform horribly. Should I worry? So if they're podcasters and they're posting videos that perform horribly, so some things that you want to think about. So if you are the app, like if you're the video creator for the app and you are invested in the app and you are hiring podcasters to promote your app and their videos are not performing well, what you have to think about is, one, do we need to work with people that their videos perform better? And two is, even though their videos aren't performing well, I don't know what your interpretation of well is. Like, for example, if they got 100 views on a podcast and they had a conversion of like 25% of the people went over and installed your app, would that be a good thing or a bad thing? So like the reason I'm asking is because sometimes people that don't have a lot of video views, the people that do view their videos are super engaged, and they'll watch everything they put out, and they'll take any recommendation they have and things like that. So that's why a lot of people will leverage micro influencers because of that, because that's where the community is typically the strongest. Because, they can have all those one-to-one interactions because because there's not that many people to interact with, right? So if you're finding that they are just not getting good results overall, one, I would just look at the conversions. Like, are they actually sending people to your app and getting installs? If they are, then I would just think about, is what we're spending versus what we're getting, is that worth it, right? And take the approach from there. But in terms of, worrying about it, I wouldn't worry. I would just look at, these are the people that we're working with. They are either spreading awareness about what it is that we have, or they're driving direct installs of what it is that we have. How are they doing that, and how good are they at doing those things? Because other things happen as well. In addition to, and everybody should keep this in mind when you're doing sponsorship stuff in the future, but in addition to the actual, views driven on a video, there's also the association with that content creator, with that podcaster. And there's also the trajectory of that podcaster. So even though their videos aren't doing that great right now, another thing to consider, especially in the podcasting world, is that when it comes to podcasts, like if you're doing like a training video, that training video can do like okay, and all of that, and that's fine. But if you're doing a podcast, typically, if somebody goes in and they really enjoy a podcast, then they'll go and they'll listen to a bunch of the other episodes. So over time, podcasts can really snowball in that regard, to where, they might end up getting more views in the future. It's just right now at the time of publish, they might not be getting a lot. So one thing that I would definitely do is I would look at that. I would go look at the trajectory of their channel, or at least see, like what it is that you think they're going to do in the future in terms of, growth and all of that. But I would also make sure that you're just looking in terms of the goal of what it is that you're trying to do with the app. Like, hey, are we getting conversions? If that's the goal, are we just doing awareness? If that's the goal, are we trying to get associated with some key influencers so that people can trust the app more, that kind of thing? And depending on what that goal is, that's where you would look at it from the perspective of, is this working? Should I worry? And things like that, if those goals are getting served or not. Let's see here. So one more here. David Matney, thank you for the super chat there. I appreciate it. So we've got the StreamYard stream here starting in just 3 minutes. So here's the link. Let me go ahead and drop it in here to where they're going to be starting that. So if you want your channel reviewed, go over there to that stream. It's going to be starting in 3 minutes right now. There's already some people hanging out over there. So if you want a channel review, they do a really cool, it's like a game show that they do over there. Really fun. Just participating, hanging out and watching is like more fun in my opinion than even get your channel looked at. But definitely head over there and check out that stream. And also for those of you that are, cruising along on your YouTube channel, or for those of you that have plateaued and you're trying to, break past those walls, Daryl Eves is also doing a stream here in about 30 minutes. So definitely check out his as well for those of you that are doing that. If you're just getting started, then I would definitely go into the channel reviews. But if you're like, if you've already, if you're going and you're like, hey, I want some like next level, stuff, then in that case, then head over to Daryl's stream. That's going to be starting here in about 30 minutes. I'm going to drop a link to that one in here also. But make sure, one, that you subscribe to the StreamYard channel and that you subscribe to Daryl's channel as well. So that, like as all this content's coming out to help you in all these different ways, if you're getting started, if you're doing more advanced stuff, whatever, then, you have resources available for, all those different things. So thank you everybody for hanging out in the stream today. I appreciate you hanging out here. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you showing up and just, hanging out here, every Saturday. Super appreciate it. I hope that you got value from our conversation today. And look, if this is like your first time here in the stream, and you've gotten, some information and you've heard me talk about things that might seem like either overwhelming or like it seems like you have this huge mountain to climb, just rest assured that, we all have to climb that same mountain, and that, everybody that has a successful channel now, they had to go through that process. So just embrace the process and enjoy the ride that you're on, because, this whole thing can be a really good time. And if you, let it overwhelm you, then that kind of takes the fun out of it. So, instead of thinking like, hey, I got to do all these things that Nick said, instead of taking that approach, think of it from the approach of, okay, so these things right here that he mentioned, I'm going to just make some notes on those, and I'm going to go work on those here over this next week. And then next week, next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, join me here, and I'll give you more information that you can apply to your YouTube channel that following week. So thank you everybody so much for hanging out. Have a awesome rest of your weekend, and I will see you next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, or in my next video, or somewhere on the internet. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and all those good places too. Have an awesome rest of your day and your weekend, and I'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching Nimmin Live. Remember to check out our sponsors and other useful resources in the description below this stream. See you next week.